What a fantastic Friday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, brought to you by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Actually, get in the game. You can get in the money tonight. Lotto Max. Get your tickets, playalberta.ca for $50 million. Wouldn't that be fun? Very fun. It is draft day in the National Hockey League, and the New York Islanders have the first pick, and now they got the 16th and the 17th pick after trading Noah Dobson to the Montreal Canadiens. Emil Heineman, this guy's 23. He's on his fourth NHL team now. Crazy. So you either everybody wants you or nobody wants you. Depends how you look at it. I'll be honest. I'm kind of surprised by this deal. Well, I guess they didn't like Noah Dobson. They didn't want to sign him 8 years, $9.5 million. All right. Well, we'll see where it goes. But are they in rebuild mode? Because if they are, if you don't want to have Noah Dobson, and maybe you just don't think he's worth it, and I don't know, you look at his minutes played and you look at his production and everything, I'm like, pretty good defenseman. Maybe a bit overpaid, maybe, but chance for that too. Now, he's not going to put up huge numbers with Cole Hudson in Montreal running the power play. So, you know what? They're signing him to not put up huge numbers. I think that's important. But he's going to log a ton of minutes. And Montreal, they obviously like him. I don't think they gave up very much, to be honest. You know, like Emil Heineman is like a third liner, and they gave up the 16th and 17th pick. So now you got to pay him $9.5 million, but they had a lot of cap space. So they went out and got it. They had to get bigger on their back end, and he's definitely will add some size for sure. They needed a right shot defenseman, and they got one. So now they got 3 picks, and there's a lot of people wondering if they can package 16 and 17 to move up. They're not going to take Hagen's number 1, it doesn't sound like, but maybe they can move up and get him later on. That seems to be the rumor right now coming out of New York. So we'll see what happens. Well, what's interesting about the draft tonight, 32 picks, 8 teams own 19 of those picks. The Islanders have 3. Nashville has 3. The Flyers have 3. San Jose, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Calgary each have 2. So that's what, basically almost 60% of the draft from 8 teams. So we'll see. Are they going to be wheeling and dealing? Find out. Could be interesting night tonight. Also today, Trent Frederic's contract becomes official. This is no surprise. We've talked about this for a week. I said it would come in around 3.8, comes in at $3.85 million. 8-year deal. I know some people aren't going to like. Now, you know my stance. I'm not a huge believer in 8-year contracts unless you're an elite player. So there's obviously some risk to this. To me, the risk is mitigated by the AAV of 3.85. He's 27. The last year of his deal, he'll be 34 when he enters the final year of his deal. So you're not getting a guy who's going to be 36, 7, and 8 in the last 3 years of his deal. He'll be 32, 33, 34 in the last 3 years of his deal. So you know what? You should be able to be a decent player through that timeline of his career. And hey, now he's got to live up to it. He's going to get opportunities, no doubt about that. Huge opportunity. And it's got a slight signing bonus every year of about 1.5, which makes the deal very tradable if you think it's something you pay out the $1 million bonus in the last 2 years of his deal, and he's got like a $2.6 million in cap money. So that it would be quite easy to move off of it if by chance it goes sideways. So there you go. Also on the show today, we'll have lots of hockey talk. Matt Larkin will be by. Steven Rosner will join us. Are the Islanders, are they in a rebuild? Like, you instantly thought about, is Matt Barzal, are the Vancouver Canucks going to try to wheel Matt Barzal? They got a brand new GM, right? The Islanders were never rebuilding. Heck, Lou Lamoriello just kept rolling things back in New York. We made it to the conference finals 2 years in a row. Let's just keep everybody. And it doesn't matter if we miss the playoffs. Let's just keep everybody again. Oh, it doesn't matter if we miss the playoffs. Let's try it again. And that's what they did for the last 3 years. Never got any better. Right? They didn't. Now they got lucky in the lottery. And so they got a new GM. And by moving off of Dobson, and I know people say, yeah, but you couldn't have Dobson and Schaefer. What? How can you possibly think that? First of all, Schaefer's not going to play in the NHL this year. Well, he better not. The guy's played 17 games of major junior. Why the hell would you play him as an 18-year-old? So he goes back to junior. Then Dobson's new contract, so that's 1 year in. Now you've got 3 years of a rookie. Like, what is this? You can't have two good defensemen garbage. Well, you can't afford Dobson and Schaefer. Of course you can. Schaefer's on an entry-level deal. That would be half of Dobson's contract by the time Schaefer's off his entry-level deal. Of course they could have both. They probably should have. So we'll see what goes on. But, unless they're going full Chicago Blackhawks here and they're like, guess what? We are going to go everybody out. Okay, well, you could do that and you're going to tear it down. We'll see. And if they're going to do that, then you should be looking at trading Ilya Sorokin. He's 29 years of age. What are you waiting for? He'll be able to command a lot. Right? Honestly, if you're into it, that's what you should do. Another trade in the NHL, Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood go to Columbus for a second in 27, a third this year, and Gavin Brindley. The Avs had no cap space, like none. So they just freed up a boatload of cap space in doing so, getting rid of 2 players. So now how does that impact the orders? Some are like, I don't care. Well, it does impact the orders because, there's another team that you could have traded Arvidsson to. Well, not going to happen. So now Charlie Coyle had 1 year left at $5.25 million. Miles Woods has 4 years left at 2.5. So it's basically, just under $8 million that Colorado freed up. Right? That's important because they had no cap space. And that'll probably allow them to, I would think, re-sign Jonathan Drouin to a contract. Maybe Jimmy Vesey if they want him. We'll see. But now they at least have a little bit of wiggle room. Ryan Lindgren on the back end. They could sign a contract too now, or they go free agent shopping. Either one. But they have a little bit of cap space now to make some moves. So, and tonight, I think could be an interesting night in the NHL draft. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the Elks as the Elks into Winnipeg last night. The first half defense just gave up way too much. Couldn't get a stop again. Corners are playing way too deep. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's not good. Now, the third quarter, that was the best quarter the defense has played all year. Winnipeg didn't get a first down. Played really well, but didn't last. There were spurts of that game where they were pretty good. The first half offense should have been even better. But Rankin fumbled the ball on it. When you watch that play, like that should never be a fumble. Like there's no reason for him to fumble there. He's got the first. He's just running in the middle of the field. You just secure the ball when you're getting tackled. And then the dropped touchdown in the end zone. Are you kidding me? I like that. Now, I know they got the field goal, but still, like that's a big swing. Those two, like there's 7 points. And it could have changed a lot of things. And when you're losing, there's always a few plays in the game. Coaches will tell me in football, it comes down to there's a few plays in the game that change the game for you. And that's what happened. And Julian Grant, you know what? I know he had 115 yards. He had a touchdown. He had the 68-yard touchdown run. That's great. But, man, he should have had 2 touchdowns because that's right there, right in his hands. Cons, you're watching that game, and I actually quite liked what the offense did in the first half. I didn't like the fourth quarter for sure, but and I'm so tired of like the broadcast. Trey Ford. Are you ever going to talk about the defense? They spent all the money on defense and they can't get a stop. They're averaging 35 points against per game. And the panel and Trey Ford, what the hell are they watching? the Elks defense stinks right now.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's 2 straight weeks, Gregor, that Trey Ford has thrown balls that should have been caught at the end of the first half. Like, you just left 11 points off the board in 2 games because your receivers can't make the catch. And last week, Trey Ford, I think, could have made a quicker throw, but the receiver has to come down with it. This week, he makes a perfect throw, and it's got to be caught. The defense just isn't doing a whole lot of anything. I mean, you look at their sack total. They have 2 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah.
They have 4 tackles for loss. Like, their front 4, which is new and received a lot of money to come to Edmonton, just is not good enough. And that's going to make your secondary look bad at times. On the Dembski touchdown, Gregor, I forget who was in coverage, but it was perfect coverage. It was just an underthrown deep ball. Dembski's a veteran receiver, comes back to it, makes a really good play. But yeah, the defense has to be the story here. Every single game, they're putting their offense in bad situations. I thought a couple of drives, Coach Maxim made some really good calls. Like, they were really well executed drives, went down the field, marched down, and it was really good. But it just gets overshadowed because the defense can't get a stop. And that is something they're going to have to correct. We knew there's going to be some growing pains, but I thought we'd see some sign of improvement, and it just hasn't been there yet. You can say what you want about the opposition and how good they are, but we really haven't seen it coming from the green and gold yet. Maybe that changes next week against Ottawa, but it just has not been good enough.
Not at all. You not at all. Like, they're playing way too soft off the ball, Connor. You were a defensive back. Like, it's ridiculous to me what they're doing. I don't understand. Like, it hasn't worked for 3 weeks. What are they waiting for to change?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and full disclosure, I didn't play DB. That was Declan. I played receiver. Right. So I am a little bit harder on receivers because, man, the catches or the drops they've had. I don't know, like, and I'd love to hear maybe from JC Sherritt. Like, are they playing like zone defense? Are these guys afraid to get beat over the top? And if you are going to play off that deep, and it is a quick hitter, you got to get in there quick and you got to be ready to tackle. And you have to fly to the ball. Like, helmets to the ball. It has to happen. And it just hasn't happened yet. So we'll see. We'll see if anything changes here, but you know the definition of insanity.
Yeah, well, the Elks, they showed some signs that third quarter for the defense. Like, Serezna, really, it's kind of the first time we've noticed him all year long. So, you know what? He was a big free agent sign. That D-line came in all highly touted and just hasn't been good enough. So they got to be better. Defense has got to be better. The defense was supposed to be carrying the offense early on the season. That hasn't happened at all. And you can't blame the offense for not being on. Well, you know what? First game, they weren't on the field very much. Valid. That wasn't the issue last night. That wasn't the issue. So,
and they've had their chances. Like, they've had good blitzes dialed up. Going back to week 1 against the BC Lions, like, Nathan Rourke kind of embarrassed them a few times on the touchdown run by Collaros last night. Tackle him. Like, you have to tackle him in those situations. He makes you pay. So yeah, it just hasn't been good enough as a whole for that front 4. Whoever the rotation is, you can group it up to some of the linebackers as well. They just have to step up their game.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Greggs, what were your thoughts on the roughing the passer rule in the CFL? The slaps in the helmet are embarrassing. The players know the rules, and they still did it. So I'm not arguing the call. I'm arguing how stupid the rule is when players slap helmets on celebrations 10 times harder. Well, it is the rule. You're right. It does seem at times like maybe they've jumped the shark on any contact to the head. I'm guessing it's a legal issue because, but that's the thing. Just don't have your hands up there because twice you have drives that should have stalled. They're punting the ball and you take a roughing the passer penalty. And it's going to sound wrong. If you're going to take a roughing the passer penalty, then take a roughing the passer penalty. Don't take a little love tap. Because that's a rule. So I don't know how you would go back from that. Because what will happen is then players will start hitting a little bit harder. So, you basically just say, guess what? No contact to the helmet. End of discussion. So don't do it. You know what it is? Don't do it. It's like headshots in the NHL. How often do we see a headshot anymore? That's a direct initial contact to the head. If you have a body check that hits in the shoulder first and you follow up, then great. It's not a hit to the head. Initial contact to the helmet. We don't see it very often in the NHL. The players will figure it out. It's just a dumb penalty for me. I'm sorry. Like, the rule. Even if you don't like the rule, don't blame the rule. Blame the player because they know the rule. It should not happen, especially at that point of the game. Should not happen. Hey, Gregor, we keep being told players want to play in Edmonton. If that's the case, why are the owners giving full no move to bottom 6 players? Help it make sense. Steve in a truck. Well, Steve, does the no move clause mean anything? Does Victor Arvidsson have one? Yep. And is he going to get traded? Yep. All it does is it allows the player to have a little bit of say, right? And in the case of Trent Frederic's deal, it's not a full it's a full no movement clause for the first few years of the deal, but then it goes to a 10-team no trade, then it goes to a 20 no. You got 20 teams that you can be traded to. It's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? Honestly, those are the things I don't fret about. Like, it's the NHL, they hand out the deals. Players feel like they want a little bit of a say. And if you're a free agent, in a lot of cases, that's what you get. It's just how it is. You don't have to like it, but it's just what it is. And it's a modified deal, right? Like, Nurse has a modified deal after the first year. What is it? The last 3 years of his deal. So you can find ways. Evander Kane just got traded, right? He had a no movement clause. So I wouldn't fret too much about that. I don't really see it being an issue. Worst case scenario, like Trent Frederic's, if you hate it that bad, you buy him out, right? The buyout wouldn't be, that horrific. If that's what you're worried about. I'm not overly concerned about the Trent Frederic contract, because you have to look at it realistically. So this past season, the salary cap was $88 million. Right? And you look at the salary cap in a few years is going to be $113 million. Right? Like, it's massive. That is a massive increase, right? That's 28% increase on the salary cap from this past season that just finished in a matter of 3 years, right? That's a huge, huge increase of the salary cap. So when you look at players, you basically got to look and say, okay, well, if he's a $3.8 million player, you kind of have to wrap your head around the fact of what's a $3.8 million player really in 3 years is going to be equivalent to like a $2.6 million player, right? That's just how it is. So everybody can get upset about it, and I understand it, but I think it's important to know that that's basically a $2.7 million player right now. This past season, guys who made 2.7 mil, that's what Trent Frederic is in 3 years at 3.85. That's what he is. So I think if you can wrap your head around it that way, you'll probably have a lot less stress. So I'll admit I'm biased. I think the Oilers need players who have a little bite in their game. I think Frederic's got bite and he has enough skill. I don't have a huge issue with it. It's not a massive, the term, yes, but when the final year of your deal is 34, like I said, if the last 2 years of the deal are that bad, you can buy it out and it's going to be fairly pain-free, right? That being said, I don't love 8-year terms for non-elite players, so I can see the concern. But usually, like, I'll tell you right now, you're mad about Trent Frederic. Trent Frederic's going to pale to what you're going to see handed out next Tuesday. I'm going to call it right now. My contract that is going to age the worst is Gavrikov. I looked it up. They've been chatting at NHL Edge for 4 seasons. In 2022, the first year they tracked it, he had 91 bursts of 20 miles an hour or more, and his top end speed was 23.6. Now, this past season, he went from 91 to 30 bursts of 20 miles an hour, and his top speed was 21.9. He's gone down almost 2 miles an hour in that span of time. What's going to happen in the next 5 years? I'm telling you this, and it's funny. Who just got bought out? Well, it hasn't been made official, but he will get bought out. Marc-Edouard Vlasic. And Marc-Edouard Vlasic, this is exactly the same player. Really good defensive defenseman who was never fleet of foot, and now he's going to age out, and it's going to be awful. Like Vlasic, they bought him out the last year of his deal, or they're going to. But the last 4 years of his deal weren't very good. And Gavrikov, you watch. He gets to free agency. The Kings don't sign him. The New York Rangers are going to overpay. I'm calling it right now. He is my pick for worst free agent contract. Whether it's re-signing in LA at the last minute or on the market, it's not going to look good. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Spell Legacy without AC. Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
At Fitted Golf, we know that you continue to believe.
It's not my clubs. Really, it's my swing.
Except it's already June, and you're still not playing the game you want because you continue to insist it's not your clubs. Except it really is your clubs, and we prove it every day. Fitted Golf customers continue to be amazed at how good they actually are when they use the right clubs for their swing. Why would you play the game you love but not love the way you play it? From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Visit fittedgolf.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Did you wake up this morning and think, I want to be a used RV salesman? If you're like most people, the answer is no. But if you want to sell your quality used RV yourself, then a used RV salesman is what you are.
Welcome to your new job.
That's right, Bob. Put it up on all the best websites. Wait for the phone to ring and be ready day or night, weekday or weekend. Drive out to the storage lot for every random tire kicker who calls and hope that what you have is exactly what they want.
There's an easier way to do this, Rick.
That's right, Bob. You could bring it to No Bull RV. We love selling used RVs, and the customers are already here. Commercials like this bring them in by the hundreds. All you need to do is cash the check when it leaves our lot. Used RV salesman is not what you wanted to be when you woke up this morning. And if it was, well, I think you better come out here and apply for a job.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate only at gmccanada.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5 positive Friday. How are you, Gregor Halley? Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And whoo, mama, tonight, $50 million. Oof, how good would that feel? Just kick back, relax. Literally do whatever you want. Do it. Yeah. Within rules, without breaking the law. We'll be good. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. Oilers are one of 11 teams who do not have a first-round selection tonight. Now, that might change. Maybe some of them will get back in the mix, but there are some teams, 8 of them, who own 59.3, so close enough to 60% of the picks in the first round. 19 of 32. Islanders, Predators, Flyers each have 3. Sharks, Blackhawks, Penguins, Blue Jackets, Flames each have 2. Now, when you look at teams, Florida, Edmonton, Dallas, Vegas, Toronto, Tampa, Colorado, Mini, all playoff teams, they don't have a first rounder. New Jersey, Montreal, Rangers also do not have a first round pick. The Rangers gave up theirs, and Pittsburgh took it. Well, actually, I think it went to Vancouver in the JT Miller trade, and then Vancouver traded it to Pittsburgh to get Marcus Pettersson. And the Rangers could either keep it this year, which is the wrong decision, or give away this year so they keep their first rounder next year. And that's what they did. Smart decision. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And man, is there a lot to talk about, not only at the draft, but at McDonald's. $2 Sundays, $2 snack size shakes. And if you download the app, you can get $1 cones only through the McDonald's app. Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff joins us. Matty, free agency is a few days away. We'll get to the draft and everything else, but I give you one candidate to be the leader in the contract that won't age well category. Who would you pick?
Oh, good question, Jason. Well, I think there are a couple candidates. I think pretty much all of them actually are Florida Panthers, because you pay the Stanley Cup champion premium. If you look at Brad Marchand, the way he drummed up his market with his unbelievable playoff run, he's 37 years old. But if there's enough competition for his services, he gets a 4-year deal. I don't think it's going to look like a great deal when he's 40, 41 years old. The other one I'm looking at is Sam Bennett. And hey, I absolutely love Sam Bennett as a player. He had a phenomenal year. He deserved the Conn Smythe Trophy. But his style of play, that type of power forward heavy game, does not typically age well. And if he scores a 7-year deal in the open market, 8-year deal to stay in Florida, I think by the time he's maybe 4 years into that contract, he might start breaking down physically. It's just the style he plays. He has been a fairly injury-prone player in his career already to this point. So even though maybe that deal is going to look good for the first couple years, wherever he goes, it's not going to age great.
Okay. Well, I got Gavrikov. That one is, to me, he is. It's funny because Vlasic's getting bought out. He's the next Vlasic, a hell of a defender. And I went to NHL Edge, Matty, and his speed has already started to decline. And it's only been the 4 years they tracked it. I couldn't go back any farther. He was 23.6 top speed, 91 times, 21 miles an hour last year, 31 times over 20, and top speed of 21.9. So it's already happening. And but teams are going to, no, he's a good defensive defender. And I get it. But the last few years of that deal, I don't think it's going to age very well at all. A contract that should age fairly well. What did you make of the Noah Dobson trade from the Islanders to the Canadians for Emil Heineman and 2 first-rounders both tonight, the 16th and the 17th pick, and then the Habs sign and trade gets a $9.5 million AAV?
I really like it for both sides. I think from the Habs perspective, it just signals that, okay, we've reached our critical mass. We've built up our prospect pool. They also didn't trade away one of their best prospects. It's not like they had to include a Michael Hage, someone like that tonight, right? So they have a great pool they've already built, and they bring in a highly impactful defenseman. No, Dobson's not going to be having another 70-point season, I don't think, as a Hab, because Lane Hudson's going to be your main power play quarterback, but he's a bona fide top 4 guy. He can play big minutes. And I think he just helps usher in what's going to be a new era for the Habs, right? You have Ivan Demidov, who's going to play a full season next year as well. Hudson now is going to start spreading his wings even further. This team is on the rise. And depending on what happens across the league in the next couple of weeks, we could be looking at a top 3 team in the Atlantic Division for next season. So I really like it for the Habs. I think the value 9.5 is about right. You have to factor in the rising cap, not just this year, $7.5 million, but it's going up to 104 the year after, 113. So filtered through that lens, $9.5 million is fine. And from the Islanders' perspective, Jason, I've been really hard on this team. They've been stuck in mediocrity for so long. They traded their first-round pick 4 years in a row. It was sort of this denial, this team that's always on the bubble. I like the fact that they're blowing it up. They're starting over. It started with the Brock Nelson trade. It happens with Noah Dobson. Now you have to look and wonder about guys like Matt Barzal, and maybe they take those 2 extra firsts and they make a big play for James Higgins. Could you get Schaefer and Higgins tonight? Clearly, it's what they're trying to do. I just like the fact that they're hitting the reset button and starting over.
Yeah, well, what about the Islanders? Does it signal to you that they're in rebuild mode? And if they are, they should deal Sorokin, shouldn't they?
I think they have to consider it, yes. I think if you're moving your number 1 defenseman and you've already traded one of your top 2 centers, because if Barzal sometimes is playing the wing, if you want to call Nelson your number 3 center, it's fine, but you know what I mean, in the depth chart. You've moved those 2 pieces already. I think you're already admitting that you're not trying to be as competitive going forward. So for me, I think you take offers on Sorokin, you take offers on Bo Horvat, you take offers on Matt Barzal. I think no one should be off the table at this point. You can start building around. It's going to be Matthew Schaefer probably. You got Cole Eiserman last year, Cal Ritchie you got from Colorado. They actually have a nice pool already, and they're going to add to it tonight. And I don't think you should rule out any type of deal at this point if you're Matthew Darsh.
Yeah, well, it's be interesting. There's lots of suggestions that he's going to try to move up in the draft. I get it. Everyone's all excited. The hometown kid. I'm like, meh. I think sometimes the hometown story rarely works out. It didn't work out. Well, shouldn't say it didn't work. It didn't work out the way they wanted because he got overpaid really for the first 8 years. But this it's funny. Now John Tavares is giving the Maple Leafs a really good bargain contract, the 4-year deal at just, $4 million and change. That's a really good value for the Leafs at this stage of his career, but it doesn't really make up for the last 8 or 7, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, the contract he signed, he walked away from money even when he signed for 7 times 11, right? So that was actually a below market contract in the moment. He did. He could have gotten 12, I think, from San Jose. There were a couple other teams that were in the mix, right? So I think that was appropriate value in the moment based on what the competition was. Think about all the meetings he was taking, right? He was the belle of the ball. So we can't have revisionist history there, Greg.
Yeah, but let's be honest though, Matt. It's a terrible overpay. There was no. Look at all the other guys that have signed before and after him. For him to get 11 was an overpay.
Yeah, we can say it now, but I'm saying in the moment it wasn't.
Oh, see, at the time I thought it was. I thought it was.
I don't think it was perceived that way at all in the moment. He was one of the biggest free agents of all time when he actually hit the market. So we have to remember that correctly. But I agree. Obviously, great value with the contract today. Again, you have to keep filtering all the deals going forward through the $95.5 million cap, but also the 104 and the 113. So really, $4.38 million in a couple of years is going to be the equivalent of what, $3 million in the cap when the cap was 88, right? So really, it's third line money you're paying John Tavares now. So that really changes things. And even if he regresses, which he will, aging is going to catch up with him. Even if he's, a 20-goal scorer in a couple of years, not a 38-goal scorer, which he was this past season, that's fine at the price. So he really did his team a favor by signing that contract.
Oh, yeah, definitely did him a favor. I argued at the time, though, I just want to be on record. Tavares is an 80-point player. I don't care if he was a big-name free agent. He was an 80-point player. And getting $11 million was I said at the time, I wrote it. People who disagreed, it turned out to be 100% accurate that he was not.
But 80-point player in 2018. In 2015, he had 86 points, and that was second in the league in scoring. So you have to factor in the era as well. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying the contract worked out great. I'm just saying I think in the moment it was perceived as it was fine.
Okay, but keep in mind, the year before he signed the contract, he was a 66-point player when Connor McDavid was a 100-point player in only his second season. So...
Well, that's Connor McDavid, Greg. Come on.
But I'm not going to sign a guy because of what he did 4 years ago. Like, because he signed his contract in the summer of 18. And yeah, he finished second in the lowest scoring 1-year wonder in the NHL. To me, that's not a reason to say, well, I think he's worth 11. Like I said at the time he wasn't worth it. And I think, but it's not only was he not worth it, it forced the Leafs to have to give Marner and Matthews more, which hurt them in kind of a trifecta way.
Yes, and I think that's true. And just the fact that the Leafs were already, at the time, they had Nazem Kadri as well, so they were fine at center. So they kind of stacked their depth chart and had a lot of money put into one area, and then it forced them to kind of chase it over the course of that contract, trying to fill other parts of the lineup. And then it was chain reaction. It led to trading Nazem Kadri for Tyson Barrie, and that was one of the worst trades of the Kyle Dubas era.
Oh, God, was it ever. Speaking of Kyle Dubas, do you think he finds a dance partner for Erik Karlsson?
I think he does, because for multiple reasons. One, the Penguins can retain salary, and they already, or San Jose already retained a little bit, right? So Karlsson's at $10 million on Pittsburgh's cap, which means the team acquiring Karlsson could get him for $5 million, and you only have a couple years left on that deal now, right? So it's no longer prohibitive, especially term is the killer, but now it's term and with retained salary. Karlsson at $5 million. That's actually pretty useful. He can still play. And at that price, I think it's actually good value. So I think more so than a year ago, 2 years ago, well, they only got him a couple of years ago, but let's say compared to a year ago, I don't think his contract is prohibitive at all. And I think there's going to be a market for him for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what they do there. I'm interested about the Islanders. I'm kind of curious to see what Nashville is going to do. You know, it was so funny. Last year, everyone was like, oh, they won this summer. I'm like, they signed a lot of wingers. They didn't sign any centers. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think they'd be 14th in the West. But you don't win with wingers. That was proven. And now they got 3 first-rounders. Barry Trotz I don't get the sense he's patient. Do you think they'll be patient? Just say, let's just kind of play it out here. Or do you think he's going to try to move some of those picks to get players to try to just squeeze back in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because they're in a position where they would be better off being patient, especially now we hear about the health scare with Roman Josi, his future too. He's getting into his mid to late 30s as well. But you've given out a lot of term on those deals you signed last summer. So you're kind of locked into a lot of money. And based on that, do you have no choice but to push forward and try to keep improving? I don't know that I would, but I think you're right in terms of just what seems to be the vibe with Barry Trotz. Like the first summer he came right in, right? The Matt Duchene, he gets rid of the Matt Duchene contract, the Ryan Johansson contract, and immediately fills the cap right back up with Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Shen, and brings in Gustav Nyquist. So he signaled right away that they weren't intending to go into a rebuild. But it's tough. You get these teams that are kind of stuck in denial, and that can set you back years and years and years. And I kind of think of the Islanders under Lou Lamoriello, who they were mid and they just couldn't accept it. They punted first-round picks, and they just kept doubling down, tripling down on this team that's in the middle. And I think Nashville's in danger of doing the same thing. They don't have a superstar, especially as Roman Josi's aging out of that status. And I think if they're not careful, they could just continue to be a bubble team for years to come.
Yeah, you're stuck in the murky middle, which is never great. It's hard to get out, man. It's like quicksand in the NHL. It's hard to get out of the murky middle because some teams aren't bad enough to you got to go scorched earth, and then you're bad for a decade, realistically. And or you just be Buffalo and you're repeatedly bad time and time again. What'd you make of the Peterka trade?
It's tough. I know I did expect a better return for Peterka. For the Sabres. I do like Michael Kesselring, though, and I do think he fills a need. So it could be a situation where a couple of years of Buffalo's finally competitive in the playoffs, and then you have Kesselring playing a pretty crucial shutdown role. People might be looking at it and say, hey, this trade worked out. I don't think it's an absolute travesty of a deal. Josh Doan has some upside as well, but obviously the Sabres gave up the best player in the deal, and I think Peterka is a pretty dynamic offensive player. The only thing I'll say for Utah, he's a little bit of what they already had. So you have Clayton Keller, you have Logan Cooley. I think they actually need more of a power forward to add to that group. So I don't know if there's a bit of a law of diminishing returns with what Peterka brings to that forward core. But either way, the price that Bill Armstrong paid, I think, was worth getting JJ Peterka.
Yeah, well, I'm curious about Utah. I think their owner is very aggressive. They want to get in. Some would say, hey, Utah's got a lot of skilled forwards. The problem is they got a lot of small skilled forwards. And history has shown us that that's not necessarily great. Now, they just want to get to the playoffs. They'll probably worry about winning in the playoffs later on. But, long term, if you eventually want to win in the playoffs, you can't win with too much of anything. I don't care what it is. You just can't. And right now, Utah's forward group, they're going to have to eventually mix in some different type of players.
Yeah, I think you're right. And they've got lots of size in their core on defense, right? Maverick Lamoureux and Simashev as well. But even if you look at guys they've added, like Tijigan last year, he's not a really big guy. So it's funny because you do seem to have a fixation to a point with Bill Armstrong with adding a lot of big players, but I think he needs to add more size at forward for sure. Can't just be Dylan Guenther. And you could say Lawson Krause, guys like that, but we're talking about the heavy skill that's in your top six. So again, that's why I still kind of wonder, was Peterka the right guy to chase? At the same time, you didn't actually give up that much in terms of the acquisition costs, so I think it's worth it.
What'd you make of the CBA? They announced, like, this is the earliest ever. Like, this is so different. It kind of just illustrates, I think, the different leadership at the top of the NHLPA, and maybe even Bettman recognizing that, always having to, to quote, win the negotiation is necessarily best for the health of the league. I've never seen a CBA announce this early, 15 months before the next one begins. I do know why they did it, because they want to get the draft rules in place right now for this year. Is there anything else do you think they'll put in that playoff salary cap for next year, or will they wait until the CBA actually starts?
I think they'll wait. I can't imagine them amending it for the final season, but you never know if they think it's important enough. But I would imagine it would be for the start of the CBA, which would be for 2026, 27. But it's interesting to me, ever since Marty Walsh came aboard, just the vibe has been so different compared to, let's say, the Donald Fear era. It just seems like he and Gary Bettman they have a certain harmony that we've never seen from the PA side with the NHL during Bettman's 32 years. So in a way, I'm kind of not surprised. It just feels like there's always been this positivity. You got players already back to the Olympics. You look at the Four Nations phase of all these different things that have already happened leading up to this week since Marty Walsh took over. And it just feels like this is the most harmonious relationship we've seen with the league and the players since Bettman became commissioner in the early 90s. I will say, though, if you look at some of the proposed changes, so my colleague Frank Cervalli, if you look at some of the stuff he reported earlier this week, it does feel pretty owner-friendly to me. Like the players, okay, they get their dress code removed, but overall, like capping on signing bonuses, outlawing of deferred salary, and the contract terms are going to be shorter, right? Max 7 years if you're re-signing, 6 years on the open market. It kind of feels like more of a sweetheart deal for the owners, but hey, if the players are happy and it's ratified, then fair enough.
Actually, see, I think shorter term deals are better for the overall group of players, because the best players, now you just have one less year and then you get paid again, right? Like ask Nathan McKinnon, Leon Draisaitl, guys who signed it. Imagine if they got 1 year less on that 8-year deal for 7, Draisaitl would be making $14 million a year earlier. Right, Nathan McKinnon.
That's a good point. It does get you to free agency, unrestricted free agency earlier. That's very true.
Yeah, and I also think what it does is Marc-Edouard Vlasic wouldn't be bought out, right? Like there'd be $7 million full. There'd be no dead cap space from the buyout. Like I think it helps keep more money in the pot for the group, and then the best players, who are the ones who deserve to get paid the most, well, they have 1 year less. Like I honestly think, Matt, we're going to see more and more. I think slowly. I think they'll get to what, like the NBA has 5-year deals max. Now they have shorter bench. I get it, but I honestly believe that eventually that's where the NHL is going to go to. And it's going to probably just start by the players. We've seen Matthews do it and others where they're like, hey, I'll take 4 or 5 years. I don't need to take 8 because I'm going to still play well. I'm going to bet on myself a bit. And it almost kind of forces the teams to have to stay competitive at the same time.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think there's been a shift in kind of collective intelligence. So people point to the Matthews contract. I think also the Nikita Kucherov contract, the one he signed before his current one, like he signed that mini bridge. Right. It was like a 3x7, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I think it signaled the start of a shift where the problem in free agency a decade ago was everybody's paying for what a guy did and not for what he's going to do. But with the contracts being shorter, you're getting more guys by the time they hit free agency, they're in their prime, or you're paying guys for their prime years. And I actually think both sides win. The player gets another deal before his value starts to dip, so he's going to get paid big again. And the team isn't locked in as long. So I actually really like it for both sides.
Yeah. No, I like it for a lot of reasons. I like that. I love the playoff salary cap. I mean, barking up that tree for a long, long time. So I hope they put push that one in first because talking to some people around the league, like you look at Florida again this year, right? Like it's a benefit. It's not cheating because it's within the rules, but it's a clear advantage for teams, right? Like before there was a salary cap, we had the same 5 teams win all the time because they spent more money. So they get better players. And when you in the thin line of the playoffs, the difference between winning and losing is if one team has $7 or $8 million more in cap space in their roster, that probably means they have better players.
Yeah, that's right. And you look at the team that Florida had for the Stanley Cup final. What was their actual cap number, right? It was like 90 something, 93, I think it was.
Yeah.
And now there's talk of Vegas. Oh no, what's Vegas? Oh, can they actually afford to chase someone like Mitch Marner? Oops. Well, now it's being leaked out there that maybe Alex Pietrangelo is going to go on LTIR. Guess when he'll probably be ready to join the lineup next year? I'm going to guess April 20th. Yeah. That's a hunch, right? So I think you're right. And I do think just based on how urgent of a problem it's perceived to be, that you never know. Maybe they do make an amendment and it's part of the final year because they've made amendments before for something that's urgent enough, right? They did it for, I think it was legal check to the head, Rule 48. That's one example off the top of my head where they amended an active CBA. So it's possible.
Yeah, it is. Matty, will we see another big trade before the end of round 1 today?
I think we will. I think we're going to see the New York Islanders make their big move to try and get their hometown boy, James Higgins.
Oh, awesome. All right, man. We'll be watching. Thanks, Matty. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Greg. Always a pleasure, my friend.
There you go. That's Matt Larkin from Daily Face-Off. We'll take a quick break. We got lots of texts. People are fired up. I love it on a positive Friday on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
An electrical solar team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
With all the news about tariffs and price hikes coming our way, you have to be strategic with your money. St. Albert Dodge knows that and has some good news for you. Right now, all Ram 1500s are available with 0% financing for up to 72 months. So think about it. You can get into a brand new Ram 1500 right now at pre-tariff prices, while selection is still good, and pay 0 interest on your financing. That keeps more money in your pocket. And that's how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Is it Riverside Motorsports?
No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong.
Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Batshaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bouchard Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BouchardConcrete.com.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rock. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocks.yeg.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
250. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Friday afternoon. It is NHL draft day one today. Of course, rounds 2 to 7 tomorrow. The Oilers don't have a first rounder or a second rounder. They currently have a third and a fourth, a sixth and a seventh. Can they find a trading partner for Victor Arvidsson? We saw another kind of, well, a little bit of pretty much a salary dump today as Columbus acquires Wood and Coyle, two good players. Wood has 4 years left on his deal. Coyle had 1, and they got a third rounder, a second rounder, and a young prospect in return. And Colorado, in the meanwhile, frees up $7.75 million in cap space. They had like a 1.2 mil prior to this. So this gives them a little bit of cap flexibility. Maybe Ryan Lindgren, maybe Jonathan Drouin, potentially they'll re-sign. So we'll see where it goes. You can always email us or text us in our email inbox, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, McDavid needs to sign ASAP so they can spread out his numbers from James. Well, James, you know what? I know that the new thing's in place. Now, he's going to sign his contract this summer. And you know what? They'll still be allowed to do the 8-year deals this summer. But I wasn't sold before the new CBA was announced that McDavid was going to sign an 8-year deal. I think there's a better chance that it's shorter, 5 or 6. Some people are saying even shorter than that. And I guess it's possible, but we'll see. The cap is going up significantly. So some players might not want to lock in too much for that. That's why superstars in the NBA go 1 or 2 year deals all the time, because they always want to get the max. Now it's a little bit different league. It's crazy, the luxury tax and everything else, but it is definitely a factor that you can't overlook. And at some point, some of the superstars in the NHL, and people might not like it, but I can see them looking at 4 and 5 year deals more than 6 and 7 year deals moving forward. So hey, Greg, sad to hear you and Frank, Frank the P, won't be doing DFO together any longer. I missed an episode. Loved each one of you took a position. Love your show, Mark and Penticton. Well, thanks, Mark. And we are working. The rundown will be continuing. Unfortunately, Frank has moved on. And currently, it's kind of like I got some free agent signings. We're negotiating with a few certain people. We'll have periodic pods over the summer, but then next year it'll be back. And obviously it's not going to be the same. Frank and I did it for 4.5 years together, and, you get some chemistry, you get to know each other a lot better. You can chirp each other a lot better. You can debate and argue a lot better. So, it'll be different, but similar style and a lot of hockey talk. So I appreciate listening, and hopefully you enjoy the new co-host, whoever it is, when it comes out later in the fall. I think you'll like it. We got some few names I think people will very much enjoy. Hey, Gregs, do you see Kostin coming back to Edmonton, league minimum? I know there's a lot of texts. We got like 6 or 7 of those for Klim Kostin. And well, first of all, I want to reiterate my belief when it comes to players that you once loved. It's kind of like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, right? People always remember the best part of the relationship, right? You rarely remember why you broke up. And so in Klim Kostin's case, he came here 57 games. Then he was in the playoffs, right? He had some slobber knocker tilts. Fans love it. He had some big hits. He scored 14 goals in 69 games between the regular season and the playoffs. So, yeah, it worked out really well. Then he got offered $2 million to go to Detroit. But since then, think about it. He played 57 regular season games for the Oilers. 57. He had 11 goals in 57 games with the Oilers. In his other 133 games played in the NHL, so 11 goals in 57 games with the Oilers, he has 14 goals in 133 games with the rest of the NHL, St. Louis, Detroit, San Jose. Now, I was told, you know what? He loved it in Edmonton. He liked it here. He misses it. I get it, because it's where he had the most success, right? But before he came to Edmonton, there was the concerns where Kostin was he was inconsistent. And since he left Edmonton, that kind of were the same concerns. Hasn't played very much hockey. Since leaving Edmonton, actually, he's only played 33 games with Detroit, 19 with San Jose the same year. He got dealt, right? He had 8 goals and 14 points in those 52 games. And then he had 1 goal in 35 games last year for the Sharks. And down the stretch, he was a healthy scratch when they didn't even have to play. There was a mutual agreement between him and the organization. They just weren't going to play him. I don't really know what went on there, but it's odd. Now, if you get Klim Kostin on a league minimum contract because he can skate and he's physical, yeah, I'd be willing to try it at that. Because if he doesn't play, you put him on waivers, you move on. It's not a big deal, right? No one claims him. He goes to the minors. So I could see it on a 1-year deal. When Klim Kostin plays all his best attributes, I like. The problem is there are the other attributes, and not overly reliable defensively. Coaches don't love that about him. So we'll see. Now, hey, maybe he'll be the Kasperi Kapanen for the Oilers. Right now, he is tough, and I argue the Oilers they need that in the regular season, no question, and even in the playoffs if you can play. Right? Could he be AJ Greer for the Oilers? Yeah, I think he could. Right? He's going to have to make a commitment at some point to be a little bit better defensively. But for a league minimum, sign me up. I would take that deal all day long. All day long. Hey, Gregor, what about Jeannot? Well, I would take Tanner Jeannot over Klim Kostin for sure. Tanner Jeannot is very responsible defensively. He's good on the boards. He can kill penalties. He's massive. Just, he's a big guy too, can fight. So he brings you the toughness same way. Now I know he scored 24 goals 1 year for the Preds, but that's a massive outlier. Okay. I'm not expecting Tanner Jeannot to ever do that again. Heck, if he could get to 10 or 12 goals, that would be fine. But I think Tanner Jeannot, because of how big and strong he is, and he kills penalties, I think teams might be willing to pay him $2.5 million. His last deal was 2.7. Now, that was still closely removed from the 24 goal season. So people are like, well, yeah, but he did score 24. So they convinced themselves. So, but I'd be all over Tanner Jeannot. And the other thing about Tanner Jeannot, he is an unreal human being. If you're talking salt of the earth person, I'll just say he's a Saskatchewan guy. There's not many people from Saskatchewan I met that aren't good dudes. And he is a really good dude. And he is a mountain of a man. Yeah, I'd be all over it. I think that'd be a great mix for the Oilers. I said, you're not going to replace Kane. Jeannot's not replacing Kane straight up, right? I think Trent Frederic's going to replace a part of Kane. And then Jeannot could come in, or Kostin. I do believe Edmonton needs some of that. I've talked to Stan Bowman. He's admitted it, that he feels their team needs a little. You can't just have Trent Frederic, right? You need a little bit more. So I'd have no problem with Jeannot. Right? He's an NHL player. He's a bottom 6 guy. The thing I like about him is he can kill penalties. And because if you're going to have a 4th line player who doesn't kill penalties, it's really hard for them to be in the game. Now, Florida showed it. You can do it, right? Their 4th line guys were able to be they contributed in 7 and 8 minutes. It's really hard to do. But Gadjevich, who's tough as nails, and AJ Greer, right? Like they bought into their role and they were very effective in limited minutes. So it's hard to do, but I think he can do it. Hey, Greg's, what about Colton Sissons? No, I wouldn't. To me, when I look at Edmonton, they don't really need it. He's too expensive to be a fourth line center, right? That's just what he is. What is he? $2.8 million. Just too expensive. Now at the trade deadline, then I consider it, but I'm not going to trade for him now, just because Edmonton, they got enough centers in their top 9 for now. If he's your fourth line center in the playoffs, I love it. But I don't want him on the cap all year long at $2.8 million. Gregor, I think the Oilers are making a big mistake letting Brown go to free agency and sign Corey Perry. Dan. Well, Dan, I'm going to say that I don't know if the Oilers are letting Brown go to free agency. The Oilers do have an internal cap. And I think that on Connor Brown, they were like, hey, we'd have paid him 2.25, somewhere around there. I think they would have done it. But I think Brown looks and feels like, hey, look at all the available cap space in free agency. He probably feels he can get $3 million. Like he sat out a year and got $4 million. So, he's forechecker. Doesn't hit very much, but he's forecheck, good use of the stick, great turnovers, good skater. Like not going to be a 21 goal scorer again that way. Because you go back and look that year, he scored 21 goals in 56 games. Go back and look at his last 18 games of the year. He scored 15 goals. He was unreal down the stretch that year for the Ottawa Senators. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, what are the chances the Oilers get a true top 6 winger for Draisaitl this summer? Well, I think the Oilers, do they have the cap space to get a legit top 6 guy? Well, if you get rid of Arvidsson, you would have about $9 million. Let's assume Bouchard gets 10. Then you would have about $11 million. Well, actually, no, less than that because they signed Frederic. So you'd have like 7.2. I think, honestly, the Oilers, a top 6 winger, I think is a trade deadline acquisition because they don't have the cap space to have him all year, but you can take him on and it's like 1/6 of the cap hit at the deadline. And then you can do it. So that's where I see it. Now, I could be wrong. They could say, you know what, we're going to put a lot of our extra money in there, and then we're going to sign 3 guys to league minimum. So they could do that. But I think a right shot defenseman, a legit top 4 right shot defenseman, and a top 6 winger, I would not be surprised if those are trade deadline acquisitions, more so than July and August. Unless they've got a trade cooking with someone with a big salary going out. That's the obvious wild card. But the only guys that they're not going to move Zach Hyman. Not Nugent Hopkins, I don't think. And then there's Darnell Nurse, and I'm not sold he wants to move yet. So I think it'd be hard to do. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Are you planning a summer road trip? We'll stop in at Fountain Tire before you hit the road. We'll, of course, do your tire checks, oil change, alignments, brake inspections, one-stop shop for all of it. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Round 1 of the NHL draft gets going tonight from Los Angeles. Islanders will be on the clock, and it all gets going at 5 o'clock. Edmonton Oilers and Trent Frederic officially agreeing to an 8-year contract with a $3.85 million AAV. He spent 7 seasons in Boston, playing in just over 330 games before being traded to Edmonton at the trade deadline. The Montreal Canadiens have acquired defenseman Noah Dobson from the Islanders in exchange for Emil Heineman, 16th and 17th overall pick in the draft. Dobson then signed an 8-year contract worth $76 million. John Tavares staying in Toronto, 4-year extension with $18 million. And the Columbus Blue Jackets have acquired forwards Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood from the Avalanche in exchange for prospect Gavin Brindley, a 2025 third-round pick, and a conditional 27 second-round pick. Toronto Raptors president and vice chairman Masai Ujiri are mutually agreeing with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to part ways ahead of the final year of his contract. Ujiri played a massive role in the organization's only championship in 2019. CFL Week 4 continues tonight with the 0-2 Hamilton Tiger Cats hosting the 3-0 Montreal Alouettes. Kickoff 5:30 from Hamilton Stadium in the majors. The Jays kicking off a weekend set with the Red Sox in Boston. First pitch 5:10. Vlad Guerrero will not play in this one after being hit by a pitch yesterday, and the Riverhawks in action, kicking off the series in Nanaimo, taking on the Night Owls. First pitch tonight, 7:35. Stingers in action on Sunday, 4 o'clock, taking on the Scarborough Shooting Stars. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Wanye Gretz, Stefan Rossner to talk some Islanders, and hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60
What a
plug-in
fantastic
hybrid
Friday
from 0.49%
afternoon.
and
How
save
are
$4,000.
How
Lease
are
or
you?
Finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your #1 air conditioning company. So when you can't take living in oppressive heat any longer,
Call Legacy.
if your hot, sticky sheets keep you up all night,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you've decided that you deserve to be cool and comfortable,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
and with no payments, no interest for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquacentral reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, and a positive Friday NHL draft day. We've had actually a fair amount of trades already today. Some signings we'll recap with you on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We should talk to Rick and the fellas. They should have had it. What are your odds that Evan Bouchard has a contract by Monday for Evan Bouchard? Now, the orders will qualify him Sunday, that's the easy thing to do. They could send him a qualifying offer, guarantees they retain his rights. Then Bouchard could get a offer sheet, which I think is very, very low chance of, up until the 4th of July. If he so chooses, then he could file for arbitration on the 5th, or not file for it. And if he doesn't file for it, then the Oilers would have the option to file for arbitration. Now, Bouchard's 2 years away from unrestricted free agency. And, arbitration, all it does is it guarantees that they get a contract done. I know some people say, you go through the arbitration process, say some things I don't like, and that's fine. I've always said if I was a player agent, I would tell my player, sometimes it's not why do you need to hear it? And if you do want to go in there, don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Because they're in there as a business transaction to try to convince the arbitrator that you're worth 8.5 instead of 10, for instance, right? That's what it's about. It's not personal. There's a lot of good numbers. There's way more good in the game. Now, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think Bouchard will get a contract done, but we'll go from there. Some of the deals that were done today. The big one, of course, Noah Dobson has been traded to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Emil Heineman and the 16th and 17th overall picks in this year's draft tonight. And then Dobson signs a deal in Montreal with a $9.5 million AAV. And then about just under 2 hours ago, the Colorado Avalanche traded Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood. No salary retention. Their combined salaries are about 7.75. Wood's got 4 years left on his deal. Coyle has 1 year left at 5.25. And they go to Columbus, and Colorado gets a conditional second rounder in 2027. They get a third rounder tomorrow, and they get forward prospect Gavin Brindley. So there you go. Also, John Tavares has signed a contract extension with the Toronto Maple. And Gavin Brindley, by the way, was a second round draft pick of the Blue Jackets. So and last year he played in the American League, had 17 goals in 52 games. Very small player, 5'8", 173 pounds. If he makes it, it'd be a hell of a story to do, but fairly difficult at that size, I would say. John Tavares, $4.38 million. He gives them, that's a really good deal for Toronto. Matt Duchene got 4.5 and Tavares crushed him in scoring. Brock Nelson got 7.5. So obviously John Tavares, he just came off a $77 million deal. I think he's got enough money. And that's what he said. He goes, I've done really well. And he goes, I'm still doing very well. I love that part of his quote. Right? Anybody that tries to suggest these players, it was I hate it when it was an insult. Some young guy's getting an offer of $8 million and somehow it's insulting. Give me a break. That's not insulting. Okay. We need levels of insulting. That's not insulting. But I love what Tavares said there. He goes, I'm still doing pretty good. You're going to make $4.38 million. I think he'll be all right. Pretty sure he doesn't have a mortgage payment. At least I'd like to think he doesn't have a mortgage payment. Pretty bad money manager if you had a mortgage payment. They're making that much cake. Hey, Greg's, instead of Kostin or Jeannot and Leeson better candidates, fourth line, I think they have better wheels. Thanks, Sonny in Vancouver. Well, Sonny, a quick look at NHL Edge, and guess what? There's virtually no different in their skating speed. Brent Leeson's top speed was 22.9. Jeannot was 22.8. Kostin was 22.8. And ain't much of a difference. Kostin and Jeannot are definitely more physical and a lot. Brent Leeson's a big body, but he's not overly physical. And like, he'll hit you, but you know, there's guys who hit you, and then there's guys who hit. He's a guy who'll kind of hit, whereas Jeannot and Kostin, they'll hit you. That makes sense. So I think they're different players. I've heard Leeson's name a little bit around it, and it's possible, you know, big body, real big body, actually. And I could see it potentially, right? If you're adding size there, but he doesn't really have an over tenacious style to his play, which is okay. But I think Edmonton's looking for a little bit of that if they could manufacture it somehow. Hey guys, the Dobson signing lower the Bouchard one since they're comparable players from Cat Dad. Well, are they comparable? So Evan Bouchard scored 82 points and then has absolutely lit it up in the playoffs, right? Like not even close to what he's done in the postseason compared to Evan Dobson. But because Evan Dobson didn't play in the regular season, let's discount that. So let's just go and look at the last 3 years for the defenseman scoring. And in those 3 years, Evan Bouchard has 189 points. Noah Dobson has 158. Bouchard has 40 goals. Dobson has 33 goals. Now, I understand that, you know, Bouchard has more points on the power play. So he has 30 more points, and he has 18 more on the power play. So no, it's a factor. I think Bouchard's, you know, he's a better goal scorer. There's no question about that. Then you throw in his playoff numbers. Yeah, they're close. I thought Bouchard was 10 million. So if Dobson comes in at 9.5 and Bouchard's got better numbers, I don't think it's going to lower it very much. I will say this. If he signs for 4 years, it's probably a little bit lower of an AAV. Now, when I say lower, like maybe 9.8, who knows? Because if Bouchard was going to sign for 8 years and Dobson got 9.5, Bouchard's probably getting 10.5 to 11. I would think. So, yeah, I don't think it really lowers it for Evan Bouchard at this point. So, hey, guys, do arbitrators look at playoffs or just regular season? Oh, the playoffs matter a lot. I talked to capologists and to agents. Oh, yeah, no, the arbitrator, they take into account, and that's why I like for Evan Bouchard, the reason why I thought it was a good move not to sign him last year, because it was like a great year and you were to sign him at the peak. I said, so to match that, and if he does it, well, then great. You're not going to have to pay him more. And that's exactly what happened. He had another good year. Now, his regular season wasn't as consistent, but his playoffs were very good again. And this year it was without Matthias Ekholm. So the security blanket argument was gone. He's the first defenseman in NHL history to have consecutive 23 points in the playoffs. Like, yeah, like if he goes to the arbitrator, he's getting big money. Now, not over 10 though, funny enough, in the arbitrator, because it's, you know, shorter term deals, right? 1 or 2 years. Now, depending on who files it. So keep that in mind. Hey, Gregor, do you think there's any chance the Oilers could trade Darnell Nurse? 100%. 100%, I think there's a chance. And I think the Oilers would have to look at it. Now, again, Darnell Nurse has to agree to it. But, you know, you never know what, like, when you listen to Rich Winter and he says, what's the one thing you wouldn't want for your player? You don't want to be overpaid a lot because it gets talked about. And, you know, maybe Nurse is tired of it. I don't know Darnell well enough in that regard to comment on it or not. You know, the Oilers do have an abundance of left shot defensemen. So is it something that they would look at? Without question. I think without question they would look at it. Seth Jones got traded. If you're trading Darnell Nurse, there's either going to be some salary retention or there's going to be, you know, bringing back a contract that, you know, that they don't like and you're taking to kind of negate, and it's got 4 or 5 years left on it. That's the way it goes. Hey, Gregor, the first part of defenseman is defense. Who's the better D-man? Well, did you look at Evan Bouchard's defense in the playoffs? Did you have a problem with it against Dallas? Did you have a problem with it against Vegas? Did you have a problem with it in the 4 wins against LA? And really, did you have a big problem with it against Florida? Now, if you're going to get bad at Evan Bouchard because Matthias Ekholm throws him a grenade at his hips, okay, I wouldn't. Evan Bouchard got on the penalty kill. Played pretty well in the penalty kill. If you give me Noah Dobson, you give me Evan Bouchard, I'm taking Evan Bouchard. That's who I would take. So, it's not like Noah Dobson is not this dominant defender defensively. I don't know where that's come out of from people. He's good. He's not any more physical than Evan Bouchard. And I would argue that Evan Bouchard, when the games, like how many times have you seen Bouchard? He doesn't back down in the playoffs. In the regular season, he does. He's like, it's a regular season. But in the playoffs, Bouchard, he gets in guys' grills. He yaps more. He's hacking. I have no problem with Evan Bouchard's game. I really don't. He's got a lot of skill. There are some plays that he makes look so easy that are ridiculously hard. Like his passing ability is off the charts good. His confidence at the blue line making plays off the chart. Well, he makes some plays in the regular season that frustrate you 100%. But he makes way more good plays than bad plays. Way more. So, and what are we talking about? How would you evaluate how much better, if you believe Dobson's better defensively, how much? Hey guys, would an arbitrator look at Nurse's contract and conclude that Bouchard's worth more? No, you have to look at contracts that are closely comparables, and so they wouldn't be using that contract. It's a few years removed from being signed, different type of players. He's a lefty righty, so not really. They wouldn't use the Nurse contract at all. 3:22. When we return, we got Steven Rosner will join us. We'll talk about the Islanders. What was it about Noah Dobson? Did he just want out? Did they not want to sign him to $9.5 million? And if so, why not? We'll find out next on the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, and Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter toasts the newlyweds.
A relationship is like a hot water tank. It brings warmth, but only if you start with a spark. Your love is the pilot light, and the burner is your love growing from that tiny spark. And the anti-corrosion anode rod is the sacrifices you make for each other to keep things from getting all gross and crusty. May your love last as long as a Mr. Rooter workmanship guarantee. For life.
For a plumber you'll keep for life, call Mr. Rooter.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Wow. Ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
The Summer Drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted, perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I know there's no such thing as a free lunch. But when you bring your used RV to No Bull, I'll give you a free roof assessment. Now, what do I mean by that? It means we'll climb up and take a real close look at all the joints and connections and seals on your roof, and give you a written report on what's going on up there.
How often do people get up on the roof of their RV, Rick?
Not often enough, Bob. You should do this twice a year.
Would I know what to look for if I did it myself?
Maybe. Depends on how experienced you are in RV maintenance. But remember, there's no free lunch. There's a 1 out of 10 chance I'm going to sell you something. But what I want to sell you is a small repair. The kind we catch before there's a lot of water damage, rather than the kind that costs you thousands once the leak is visible from the inside. And 9 times out of 10, the assessment is really free. And it's also free to know you'll be safe and dry this camping season.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3:25. Man, we are rolling through an hour and a half into the show already. What? Where'd the time go? Oof, time flies when you're having fun, boys and girls. Hope you're having a positive Friday, and it'll be even better if you win tonight. At Lotto Max, $50 million and 2 Max Millions. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Of course, if you want to do some sports, you got the Blue Jays tonight. They're taking on the Boston Red Sox. You got a little CFL action this weekend, including the Riders. Jake Meyer getting the start for the Riders, as Harris, unfortunately, is out with concussion symptoms. Now, Gregor, would moving Nurse hurt the relationship the Oilers have with McDavid? No. Business is business. I don't. You know what? There's lots of teammates you don't want to see go, and it would happen. I don't think it would be that devastating. If this is just a big if, this is people talking about. I'm not suggesting they're going to trade Darnell Nurse, but do I think it's not anything's on the table? Lots of things are on the table for the Oilers, and lots of things will be on the table tonight for the New York Islanders, as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Sporting events, maybe you got a band club, maybe you got a book club, or maybe you just want a guys or girls night out. We'll take you there in style. SilentRides.ca. As we go to Long Island, the big trade earlier this morning, Noah Dobson going to the New York Islanders. He gets a new deal at $9.5 million AAV. The Islanders get Emil Heineman. They also get 2 first-round picks, 16th and 17th. Tonight, Stephen Rossner joins us, Islanders reporter. And Steve, you look at this deal, it'd been rumored for a while. So my question is, did Dobson want to go, or why did the Islanders not want to sign him to a $9.5 million deal? What happened?
Yeah, I think it was a part of both. I think Dobson ended up firing his agent this season and then eventually got a new agent. But I think you only do that if you want to get something done. And I think the Islanders offered Dobson something last year, probably closer to 8, and he declined it. And I think the goal was have a good year, maybe mimic your 70-point campaign, and then cash in. Unfortunately for Dobson's camp, he didn't do that. That being said, he still believes he's that kind of guy. So I think they weren't close on money. It just got to the point where Dobson had a little bit of leverage here because wherever trade team was going to, he would have to sign an extension. So I think what happens is the Islanders did want to keep him, but Matthew Darch had a fine line. I think whether it was his agent or Dobson or everyone else, they were testing Darch here. Was Darch going to fold under pressure, go over that line and pay Dobson? Because personally, I think if you paid Dobson 10, I kind of think that was okay. But if the ask was more than that, I think Darch was smart to move on from him. Now, that being said, the return doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot for a guy that can put up 70 points, a 25-year-old defenseman, right side too, power play kind of guy. Also, I think you're going to flip these picks and try to get Higgins. So I think there's multiple plans involved with this trade. I think if the Islanders weren't trying to get picks to flip, I think you'd see a much better return for Dobson, but I do believe that's the case at this point in time.
Well, that's a big if, right? If they can get it done. And Stefan, you mentioned that, he was asking, well, he signed for 9.5 with Montreal. Right. So was his ask a polite way of saying I want out, so I'm going to ask for a high number?
That's kind of how I look at it because, like you said, I think there was rumored 11. I don't think it ever got that high. I think it was closer to 10 or a little bit more, but I think that it was 10. And I think the Islanders were like, listen, we're not going to go past 9.15, 9.25. So I think it just got to the point where I think Dobson did want out, but for extra money, if they're willing to hit what he wanted, he probably would have stayed. But I do think this was a point of fresh start somewhere else. He did play his juniors in Quebec. So I think it worked out for Dobson. He obviously wanted to be a Montreal Canadian when it came down to being moved. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay. So you mentioned Higgins, and I'm looking at the draft, and like it's projected. It depends. Some think he's going to go 3, some think he's going to go 6. So that's kind of what makes it interesting here is you got to find, you got to find a team in the top 5 who's willing to wheel and deal. And do you have an idea? Like Utah, I don't think would be that, maybe, unless they think they can spin around, because I think they want NHL players right away. I think they want to make the playoffs. The Nashville Predators might be the team that would do it.
Yeah, I think Utah is very much on the table, but the way I look at this is if Utah is trading their pick, and the Islanders are going to give up their 2 picks they just got, if I'm Utah, I'm calling Columbus and I'm calling Pittsburgh and saying, hey, Islanders offer me this. Your first picks in the first 2 rounds, or the first round, excuse me, much more valuable than the Islanders. So I think Nashville's a smart spot, but I think the Islanders are going to try to work something out with Utah. But like you said, Utah wants NHL-ready players. So do they ask for one of the Islanders' wingers? I think Simon Holmstrom would be way too much to give up, along with those 2 first, given Holmstrom's future and what he's shown this past year. Maybe there's another forward that they could include in that, but I think Nashville is definitely one of the teams to watch. I know Barry Trotz said Higgins would be right in his wheelhouse for the kind of guy you'd want, but he's also playing a game as well. Everybody knows what the Islanders want to do. It's just a matter of the Islanders finding a way to not overpay to the point where it doesn't make sense. I don't think Higgins is a guy, if you got him at number 4, where people are going to complain, of course, that it's way too high. But I believe in Higgins that he is going to be a tremendous player. That being said, you're not giving up 2 picks this year. You don't really want to give up your first-round picks next year because of the McKenna sweepstakes. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Islanders will have to give up more than they want to try to do it. But again, everybody knows they have no leverage in this situation. So if they really want Higgins, they'll find a way to make it work. But I don't think you make that trade for Dobson with these 2 picks without knowing that you can flip those to find a way to get into the top 5.
So you know what? They got Emil Heineman, who's probably at best a third liner, and then the 2 picks. Are the Islanders going in a little bit of a retooling? And if so, would Ilya Sorokin be available?
I think if the word was rebuild, Sorokin's got to go because he's going to kill your rebuild with making saves and winning you games that you have no business winning. I think it's a retool. Now, I think seeing Dobson move kind of changes how much a retool is it, because if they do get Higgins and they get Schaefer and they have Yzerman coming and Danny Nelson and Camille Bednarik and Callum Ritchie, you're kind of are looking at a rebuild. That being said, Matthew Darch wants to compete now. He wants his team to make the playoffs, and you have Barzal, you have Horvat under contract long term. So I think if the Islanders are serious about a rebuild, those guys would have to go as well. I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to try to retool over the next couple of years and have a pathway for all these young guys to get action and have NHL spots. Like, for example, Kyle Palmieri got re-signed. Darch did that. Maybe there was a deal in place with Lou already, but Darch honored it, or whatever the semantics you want to use. So in 2 years, when Palmieri is a free agent, that's when those young guys like an Yzerman steps in as an NHL player. So I think it is a retool. They want to win now. But obviously, I think the priority is really going to be on this young group of guys that are coming in the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay. So, and that does make sense. Like, to go a full rebuild, you basically got to commit to like 8 to 10 years of sucking. Like,
right. And the Islanders,
yeah,
you have UBS Arena, where it really hasn't had that big of a moment. You got to sell seats. So I don't think they're going full rebuild. And also, a lot of these guys have modified no trade or full no trade clauses. So it's going to be really hard to do that. But Darch had told Barzal and Horvat, I think Pierre LeBrun reported that they're not going anywhere. So if that's the case, then I don't think you're seeing a rebuild at all. It'll be a retool.
What about Noah Dobson? Like, how good is this guy?
So I think he's a number 2 defenseman. I don't think he's a number 1. I think the problem with him and why you can't call him a number 1 defenseman is he wasn't playing late in games, especially in big moments to close out games. And I think that's part of probably why the Islanders weren't willing to go over the line is because, listen, like we value you as a great player, but you're not that guy. So I think what Montreal is getting is a guy that, he could play as your number 2 quarterback. I don't think he's a number 1 quarterback on a power play, but they don't need a number 1 quarterback. They have one already. So I think Dobson, maybe the pressure will be off him a little bit to just be that reliable offensive guy 5-on-5, play power play 2, and go from there. So yeah, so I think Noah's a quality defenseman. I think he'll fit in well in Montreal. Hopefully he'll do okay with the media there. Obviously the Islanders fan base is pretty harsh, and we know how Montreal media can be. But yeah, I think this is a great ad for Montreal. You just got to hope that he can be more of that 70-point guy, not under 40.
Well, it's going to be hard with Lane Hudson taking all the first unit power play time, right? So that's where you get your power. Now, is he a regular penalty killer?
He's played on the penalty kill before. I think it's something he definitely wants to be a part of. It didn't happen a lot on the Islanders when players were hurt, like Scott Mayfield, Pelech, Kulak. He got minutes there, and he didn't look bad there. But I think it's something he wants to be a guy that can play on both special teams units and play on a top pairing. He just has to do it. I think his defensive game is definitely the biggest question mark. But when the offense was coming, the word wasn't on the defensive side. The problem is when the offense wasn't there, everybody looked at the defense and said, well, the offense isn't going to be good enough. The defense has to be good enough. And it wasn't. In front of his net is where he probably gets in the most trouble, especially behind his net. So I think he has the chance to be a really, really good defenseman, but he's got to show that he could be more than just maybe a power play merchant or a guy that gets secondary assists and be that guy that can be relied upon in those big moments to close out games and help Montreal win.
Okay. So interesting. He's not going to be a number 1 power. Like, obviously, I think Montreal feels he can be more of a penalty kill guy. You're not going to pay him that much money because he's not going to run their first unit power play with Lane Hudson there. I think that's Captain Obvious. But so
it's a gamble. It's a gamble for Montreal for sure. I don't think they gave up too much for it, but they're paying him like a guy that can be that guy and play on a top power play unit or second unit and kill penalties and do everything Lane can essentially. We'll see if it works out. Hopefully for Montreal it does, but I think the Islanders didn't believe he could be that guy, which is why they moved him and didn't pay him themselves.
Stefan Rossner joins us. Any other moves you think the Islanders, anything else you're hearing outside of the potential trade-up?
So I know for a fact there are a lot of teams that want Jean-Gabriel Pageau. I think Minnesota's been the latest. If they move Marco Rossi, they're going to need a third-line guy. Pageau led the entire NHL. He was 59.7% in the face-off dot. Had a real bounce-back year. He's got 1 year left at his deal at $5 million. If I'm the Islanders, unless you get blown off with an offer that you can't refuse, I'd hold on to him until the deadline. Right now, the Islanders don't have a number 2 center. And I don't know if Pageau is going to be that guy or Callum Ritchie, but definitely don't want to rush Callum Ritchie. So I think they'll hold on to Pageau. Casey Zizekas is one guy to watch. He's got 2 years left in his deal, and he has no trade protection. And with the Islanders, Matt Martin retiring, Cal Clutterbuck gone, that fourth one that's been a fourth line forever, it's not really going to be a factor. So I think I could see Zizekas. I don't think Scott Mayfield's got a full no trade is going to be moved. He kind of fell out of favor with Patrick Roy, and I don't think that Alexander Romanov pending RFA is going to move. I'd be interested to watch what happens with Simon Holmstrom. Like I said, if Utah wants a forward, you look at the Islanders, and that's probably the guy they would. I don't think they want to part with him at all, but I tend to wonder if they really think they're going to get Higgins. If they have to part with Holmstrom, would they do it? That's probably the guy I'm watching. But yeah, I think there's a lot of generating a lot of interest for Pageau. So we'll see if the Islanders move him or if they get an offer they can't refuse.
What about Patrick Roy? Like last year, he didn't shy away at times, questioning the moves of his own GM. Now, you know what? Darsh is hey, French-speaking guys, and, I went to a French immersion high school. So, I'm not saying this to be rude, but they can be very emotional at times. And right. I think Patrick was not afraid to speak his mind. Darsh probably understands that. But what do you make of that relationship? And, is Waugh kind of in I got to show this GM that I'm the right coach?
1,000% on your last part, because I think Darsh doesn't want to use all of his bullets up right away. Now, he could have fired Waugh immediately, but then if he brings in his own coach, things go south. It's already a knock on him. He bought himself a little more time where if it doesn't work out with Patrick Waugh, he could say, well, that was a Lou hire. I didn't bring my own coach in here. He already had an extension. It wasn't that Waugh needed a new deal. So I think that's what's happening with that. But also, I think Darch understands the way Waugh wants to play, and they're lined up with that. Lou wanted to win the 1-0, 2-1 games. Patrick Waugh wanted to win the 5-4, 6-4 games. And Darch understands the need for offense. And I think Lou didn't want to do that. So I think I think it makes sense for him to stick with Watt. I don't think there was a better at that point in time when they hired Darch. If there was a better candidate out there in terms of replacing Patrick Watt, there were coaches that were hired. And now DeBoer is out there, but no one knew that was going to happen. So I think Darch and Watt are in the same exact mindset of how they want this team to play, how they're going to build this team. And I think Patrick Watt is a motivator. I think he could be a really good coach. He just needed his own assistants, which Darch helped him get, letting go of Tommy Albany and John McClain and hiring Bob Wagner and Bennett. So I think they're in lockstep with how things are going to go. We'll just see if the team can deliver, which ultimately falls on Darch. And again, obviously Lou has contracts already in place that Darch can't get out of with the modified no trade clauses. But we'll see how this goes. But I think Darch does trust Watt to be that guy to help this team make the playoffs and also get ready for a pathway for these young players to step in and play well.
And lastly, Schaefer is going to be the number one pick, it seems like, most likely. He only played 17 games last year due to injuries. He's a defense. Like, they're not rushing this kid to the NHL, are they, next year? Like, he's going to go back to junior.
I don't know. Obviously, the player thinks he's ready. I think all players think they're ready. But I think they've done this with Dobson, where he stays on the team, and he's a fringe guy, and he worked out with the team, gets on the third pair, moves up. So it depends on what they believe in. Obviously, now with Dobson being moved, if they want to compete this year, you got to feel like Schaefer is going to be on this team. He's going to get every chance. They'll have development camp after the draft. I know he only played in 17 games, but I spoke with Ken Peroff, the assistant coach with Erie, and he said, well, if you watch those 17 games, you know exactly why he's going number one, outside of him being just an impeccable human. But I think they're going to see what it looks like in development camp, see what it looks like in training camp before making their mind. I personally think him going back to juniors would be a mistake if the college route is open. I think if there's a college team willing to pay him, willing to bring him on, obviously if you go play against men, it's not just 15, 16, 17-year-olds really develop that way, maybe 1 year of college and come. But I do actually think there's a strong chance he makes the honors out of camp, but they're going to be really smart with this kid. If they don't think 100% chance he's ready, they'll have to go back to juniors with the college route because he's not going to go to the AHL. He can't.
Defense. It's hard enough being a forward at 18. You be a defenseman in the NHL at 18. You're just wasting a year of his development. I don't care what anyone says. To me, that would be an unmitigated disaster decision. I don't care. Go play in Europe there, go to college, go somewhere, but do not go to the NHL at 18. Like
no, I agree. I think the college route's probably the best route for him just because he's already dominated juniors. Go see what he can do against more, just mature players.
Yeah, it's possible. To me, you go back to junior and you play a lot of hockey. There's a benefit there. Just get your body used to that, right? I think there is a benefit in that for sure. Stefan, thanks for your time, man. Enjoy the draft tonight. I saw on the ice there's like a Ferris wheel and everything in New York. There, it's like a fan fest for the fans.
Yeah, it's fun. Hopefully they're having fun there. The draft here is going to be incredible. It's exciting times ahead for Islander fans for sure.
When was the last time the Islanders had the was it John Tavares, right?
Yep. 09.
Yeah.
We know that worked out, so we'll see what happens.
Well, that was a pretty good pick. He played pretty well until he left, but that was a good decade for them for sure. Awesome, Stefan. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks, Jason. Have a good one.
It's Stefan Rossner joining us live from LA at the NHL entry draft. The Islanders, they're going to be a big player. They got the first pick. There's all the rumors. Oh, they're going to try to get the local guy. I get it, right? I can understand it. Some team, when you're a team like that, you're looking to market players. And trust me, there are a lot of fans who would be like, oh, local kid, I'm going to the games. Doesn't mean he'll play there next year. And that would be an absolutely horrible decision. Horrible decision for them to play Schaefer in the NHL next year. I'm saying it right now. It is like there are certain few guys at 18 who can play in the NHL. Very, very few of them. And defensemen, oh my God, even less. So don't do it. Don't do it. No, Dobson didn't do it. He went back for a year. Then the next year they had him and he barely played. So I would argue that wasn't the best decision either. Quick break. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got the Cam Tate 2-minute warning. Lots of text to get to 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. It's the Gregor Show as always presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Are you an elite athlete or weekend warrior and you just want to enjoy playing the sport you love with less or even no pain? Have you tried every exercise and stretch imaginable, hoping the next one might do the trick? Well, you tried analog. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe healing can move along better and sometimes even faster with evidence-based technology techniques and the people who know how and when to apply it. StimPod, zero-gravity treadmills, radial shockwave, and so much more at your fingertips when you click to find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at the Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals, like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sectionals. Queen beds start at only $199. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $4.99 or more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way. Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple plate. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3PLAY at papajohns.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
346. Positive Friday. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely day. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Welcome in Wanye Gretz to the show. It's the Gregor Show, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Wanye, how you doing?
Doing all right. The sting of back-to-back cup losses is starting to subside. I can sleep through the night without waking up screaming. Life is returning to normal.
Yeah, well, the people just celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Connor McDavid being drafted by the Edmonton Oilers. So that's people always remember that, and I can understand why. You got to look for positives. It'll be a good summer for Oilers fans in some regards. There'll be some who are disappointed because the Oilers they're not going to revamp their entire roster. They're not going to have every position that you think they need to upgrade. Because hey, you know what? When you don't win, you want to upgrade. Like, the Oilers aren't that far away. But they'll make some tweaks, but they won't all be made this summer. So just preface that to people. The Oilers are a team that's in win now mode, and that means part of it has to do with accruing a little bit of cap space, but also making some bigger ads near the deadline where fiscally it's just easier to do. Right? Look at Florida. Florida won the cup because of the Jones and Marchand trade deadline acquisitions. Make no mistake about it. They don't get those two players. I don't think they win the cup. Right. So you can make now it filled in. They had a lot of other good pieces, but they got those two. And that makes a big difference. A little bit of lucky because, of course, the Tkachuk injury for Jones, no question. But that they needed to add, and they needed to upgrade their defense, and they did. So I think for the Oilers, I think a right shot defenseman upgrade will be coming at the deadline next year.
So you're saying make your right now moves at the deadline, not in the summer.
Yeah, like you can make some moves in the summer because you can't do everything at the deadline. But I think in a cap world, when you don't have a ton of cap space, like does Edmonton want a top 6 winger? For sure. But a good top 6 winger probably costs you $6 million, right? A proven one. Now you can always have some that, hey, maybe Matt Savoy scores more than you think. Maybe Thomasek shocks people, like maybe Trent Frederic. Like they'll look at things and they'll see. But ultimately, to get like a proven top 6 guy, usually got to wait till the deadline because now you're only going to have to slide in 1/6 of his contract for the end of the season, right? That's the advantage. So same with the right shot defenseman. If you're looking for a second pair right D, I think that's something you could get there. So we'll see. Let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Cam, of course, born with cerebral palsy. Cam's in a wheelchair. And due to his disabilities, has never been able to be on the radio until now. Through the wonders of technology, Cam words come to life in the 2-minute warning. On Positive Friday, Cam has me read his 2-minute warning. Hey, Gregor, it says you graduated from the big radio and television arts program at NAIT with honors. Okay, good for you. I'll buy you a hat. So you should be able to pronounce the following without any CRTC emails. CRTC, are they still around? So, Gregor, here's what you need to say. FFU. One more time. FFU. As in Friday Fun Fire Up. I think you're missing an F, Cam. That's just me adding something. I'll chirp a few people and then you read them. So the very first Friday Fire Up is I'm mad at TSN and confused. Not mad at the on-air staff, many being good friends. But I'm mad at the producers, vice president of programming, or even the big guy himself. They punted Matt Dunnigan from the CFL broadcast. Why? Dunnigan was engaging, funny, insightful, knows the CFL. And with attendance figures, a little more than 14 grand last Elks home opener, you'd think TSN, the rights holders, would have a vested interest in having more bums in the seats. Dunnigan's enthusiasm got you interested. So why kick him to the end zone and then roll him out of the stadium onto the street? Have you seen the new TSN football panel? Someone should drop a penalty flag. Wrong lineup formation. Last season, Kate Burness had 3 people on the panel. This season, 2. And either someone ate baked beans before the show or, God forbid, COVID. See that big space between Burness and the 2 guests? It doesn't look good. Where the hell is Matt Dunnigan? So, yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad at TSN because I think when it comes to promoting the Canadian Football League, they have obviously fumbled the ball. Tune in next week for another FFU. It's a 2-minute warning. Cam Tate, Monday, Friday, Wednesday. Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Oh, pretty good. Now, should it be a fun Friday Fire Up? So, FFU, Cam? That's just a question now. Friday Fun Fire Up. I think you're missing an F. Or did I miss something? Let us know, Cam. Let us know.
Do I need to change the music, Gregor? That was really relaxing music.
Yeah,
if it's going to be FFU, then
it's going to be FFU. You might have to bring something up, right? Maybe a little STFU music in the background. We'll see.
Where'd you get that music, Connor?
It's one of his playlists. He just has it on.
Serenity Now.
That's my personal. That's just Googling free music YouTube, and it comes up.
What an age to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Just have to pray there's no ads.
So there you go. It does look different. It's totally valid. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Milt Stiegel's not there yet. And unfortunately, due to the passing of his son, I think they're giving Milt time to before he comes back. But I probably would have had someone else fill in because it does look a little incomplete, to use a football term, on the panel right now. Right? I don't know. There's just something about the host. It just seems most panels have 3 on it, but whether it's basketball, whether it's NFL, whether it's NHL, there's the host plus 3. So yeah, it looks a little bit off right now. And I think that is a astute point from Mr. Tate. Hey, Greg's hypotheticals. Hopkins and Larson should have been moved to the deadline when their contracts were up. Likely to first coming back. Could have been something rather than nothing. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins signed a contract extension. So you'd rather have a first rounder than Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? That first rounder never would have helped you get to 2 Stanley Cup finals like Nugent-Hopkins did. Larson, you have to understand, Larson, even with everything that happened, his father passing away suddenly in Edmonton, right after the day after they landed, it was traumatic for his mother. And she just like, it's too hard for me. I don't want to come back to Edmonton. And that's why I left. No other reason. Like it's hard to predict that one. Right. And at the deadline, they were trying to get to the playoffs and make the playoffs, which they hadn't made in like forever. So I can understand why they didn't do it then. But Nugent Hopkins for a first, like, what are the chances that first rounder? Because it wouldn't have been a top 10 pick. Probably would have been like a 20 to 30 pick. Would have been better than Nugent Hopkins. Pretty slim chance, I would say. So hypothetically, I think that would have been a worse decision than what they made. So, hey, Gregor, I keep hearing about the Rangers' interest in Gavrikov. What about Nurse? And would they have anything that the Oilers want? I'll be honest, I haven't done a ton of looking into deals for Nurse, only because you know what? He has to waive it. No, I didn't talk to Darnell at the end of the season. He wasn't available. I didn't see him. We don't text each other. I have lots of players' numbers, certain guys that don't. He's one. Not for any reason. I just never asked. I look at, their blue line. Like, I don't see them. I know they got Adam Fox. They're like Carson Soucy's a lefty. Lots of them think that maybe they're going after Gavrikov, who they could get and not have to give up anything. So I guess if they struck out on Gavrikov, then maybe you're looking. And I guess Edmonton would take Soucy back and then something else. But I don't think I know people are like, hey, you get Alexis Lafreniere. Like, you can't tell on one hand that you don't think Nurse is very good and then think that you're going to get Alexis Lafreniere in the trade. So can't really work that way. So if you think Nurse isn't good, that's your opinion. That's okay. But then you can't think that he's going to get you a really good player. Doesn't work that way. So we'll see. Hey, Gregor, losing's losing, first round or finals. Honestly, Mitchell, that might be the dumbest comment I've ever heard. Oh, losing the first round's the same as losing the cup final. No, it isn't. You don't gain any experience. You can be a team that loses in the first round. What experience do your players? What do they learn about the challenges and the troubles and of the up and down roller coaster of the playoffs? Absolutely nothing. Claiming that losing the first round's the same and that they're thinking, because all that is, it's a simplistic view that the only thing that matters is the Stanley Cup final. Nothing else matters. You should just get there and win. Otherwise, just lose every year. Oh, yeah? Really? How many teams? Most of them had to have some losing before they won. Oilers lost in the final way back when. Heck, the Carolina Hurricanes stunk. They still lost in the final and then won a few years later. You need that. All right, Chicago lost in the conference final. Name a team that became very good by losing once in the first round.
Also, there are other good outcomes for a season other than a cup win.
100%.
Was it Giannis that made that speech the one time and the reporter was asking him,
he talked about, is it a failure? And
Yeah.
he's like,
what are you talking
yeah,
about?
only one team wins. To claim that everybody's a failure, only one team can win. To suggest that nobody else can have any level of success is honestly, it's a pessimistic view. It comes from somebody who's never happy. That's like, well, you know what? Winning is all that matters. People who say that have never won anything.
It blew me away last season. Game 7, second intermission. The Oilers were down by 1 goal in Game 7. There was people on social media just like, the team needs to be blown up, and Ken Holland, what are we doing here? Like, you're literally a period away from winning the cup. There are other acceptable outcomes other than winning the Stanley Cup for a season to not be a throwaway, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. I like this one. Kobe Bryant and Derek Jeter never won anything. You should listen to them. You're so egotistical.
Is that the same guy?
Yeah, same guy. Oh, it's too funny. So did Kobe Bryant say when he lost it was a failure? I don't recall that.
No.
Exactly.
He said the job's not done.
Yeah, sure. Because you don't win every year. No one does. To think that it's a failure is comical. And to think, well, the Oilers should have traded Nugent Hopkins first rounder has nothing to do. And you're like, oh, that first rounder would have made them better? Based on what? You're basing it on a hypothetical, and now you're acting like it's actually something truthful. That to me is beyond funny. Beyond funny. Lots of other texts out there. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, what do you think Arvidsson would get you? Wow. Just look at the trades out there. He's, a mid-round pick? Third? Fourth? I don't even think a third. Like fifth? Sixth? It's a salary dump. He scored 15 goals last year. It's okay, but it's a $4 million salary dump. If you're just getting rid of all the money, you're going to get back a mid-tier draft pick. That's what you're going to get, right? Like Charlie Cole's a pretty good player, and Colorado took a second, and also Columbus took Miles Wood for 4 years, right? You get a third, and I know people say, "Oh, you got a young prospect." Yeah, but you got a 5'8" prospect who's drafted 3 years ago. Like it's hard to be 5'8" and be a regular in the NHL. Doesn't matter who you are. It's just very, very difficult.
Speaking of trades, I know you probably touched on it many times. What are your thoughts on the Evander Kane deal?
It was expected. I thought the Oilers are going to, I didn't expect them to get much more than that, right? You're unloading $5 million. It's a salary clearance for them, and you take the draft pick, and you're going to use that cap space elsewhere, right? Like I look at, if they move Arvidsson, they're kind of saying Frederic's replaced Arvidsson's $4 million with Frederic's 3.8. They'll take Kane's $5 million, and they'll add in a few forwards and maybe a goaltender. We'll see.
Did you think that it was amazing they didn't have to retain any salary?
Not at all.
No.
Kane, Kane's still, he's a homegrown guy.
Yeah.
You're a team, and they've lost. They're probably losing Besser, right? Unless there's some last second miracle here. They're going to lose Besser. They lost JT. Like, you need someone who you think can help you score. I don't think Vancouver is trying to retool. They're not rebuilding. So I think they look and say, hometown guy, last year of his contract. He's a physical forward. He should be highly motivated, right? They'll overlook some of the potential negatives, and away they go. So no, I'm not stunned by it. I actually talked to Stan. There was quite a few teams interested, but he said, some of them were kind of dragging their heels. Others were, they wanted a small part of retention. And at the end of the day, he said Vancouver's the most aggressive. So that's where they went.
We were sitting around Oilers Nation HQ brainstorming ideas on how to bring traffic back after the Cup Finals lull, literally as the trade got announced. We're like cheering, hooray, hooray, as we watch the real-time traffic just go back up to the Cup Finals level. Like, the hangover was not very long this year. No, I think Oiler fans they're excited to see what happens here the next 5 days. Totally.
Greg, are you surprised Connor Brown's going to test free agency? Not at all. I'd written it last week. Connor Brown took $1 million contract last summer, and he had signed a $4 million the year before. Now, he didn't have a great year, had a good playoffs, so the $1 million plus he had the bonus over. Just he still counted as a $4 million player for the Oilers cap, oddly enough. But I think Connor Brown was a player who was, I think Edmonton could have went as high as 2.2, give or take. I think Brown thinks he can probably get 3 on the open market. And he was like, you know what? I did it one year where I took a low one to run it back. Not going to do it again. So I'm not surprised by that. And, it's unfortunate, but he's not irreplaceable. 403, let's get to the Con Man, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate, only at gmccanada.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Round 1 of the NHL entry draft goes tonight from Los Angeles. Islanders on the clock once it gets going at 5 o'clock. Edmonton Oilers and Trent Frederic agreeing to an 8-year contract extension with $3.85 million. Also, Canadians acquiring defenseman Noah Dobson from the Islanders in exchange for forward Emil Heineman, the 16th and 17th overall pick in the draft. Dobson then signed an 8-year, $76 million contract extension. Forward John Tavares staying in Toronto on a 4-year deal worth $18 million. And the Columbus Blue Jackets acquiring forwards Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood from the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for prospect Gavin Brindley, a 2025 third round draft pick, and a conditional 2027 second rounder. From the association, Raptors president and vice chairman Masai Ujiri mutually agreeing to part ways with the Toronto Maple Leafs and Sports Entertainment. Coming in ahead of the final year of his contract, he played a huge role with the organization's only championship in 2019. This just being passed to me. Per reports, Sam Bennett will remain with the Florida Panthers on an 8-year deal with an $8 million AAV. Major League Baseball tonight, Jays in action, kicking off a series against the Red Sox. Vlad Guerrero Jr. will not play in this one after being hit by a pitch yesterday. And local teams, the Riverhawks, will kick off a weekend series in Nanaimo. That one gets going just after 7:35 in the CFL. Week 4 rolls on. 0-2 Hamilton hosting the 0-3 Montreal Alouettes. Kickoff 5:30. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show. The biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens. Spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Woo! Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Back by popular demand, the Operation 36 Junior Golf Program at Cattail Crossing Golf Club. Designed for kids ages 5 through 17. It combines instruction and on-course play, focusing on technique, strategy, and course management. Taught by certified CPGA pros. Only $325 for 4 weeks of instruction, plus 4 9-hole rounds of golf. Operation 36. Wednesdays, 5:30 till 7:30 p.m. through August. Register at cattailcrossing.ca. Click on Junior Program or call 780-973-6686.
At Fitted Golf, we know that you continue to believe.
It's not my clubs. Really, it's my swing.
Except it's already June and you're still not playing the game you want because you continue to insist it's not your clubs. Except it really is your clubs. And we prove it every day. Fitted Golf customers continue to be amazed at how good they actually are when they use the right clubs for their swing. Why would you play the game you love but not love the way you play it? From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Visit fittedgolf.ca.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Ah, yes, the majestic air swing. Don't fret, Colonial Golf Club welcomes all skill levels, even those who struggle to make contact. Colonial's championship course is designed to challenge pros, entertain amateurs, and provide just enough hazards to keep things interesting.
Whoops.
Well, at least the Ducks are impressed. Colonial Golf Club, just south of Edmonton down 50th Street. Book your tee time now at colonial.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4:10. Welcome back. Pause the Friday Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Friday. Big plans for the weekend. I know some of you will be, even though the Oilers don't have a pick, the first round of the NHL draft. Most people like seeing, people get excited, right? Kids are pretty fired up. Parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, GMs. It's going to be a little, well, no GMs this year, at least in person. They'll be, I'm sure they'll have a camera in the buildings for the teams like the Islanders and stuff. Now, I wonder if the Islanders, you got the number one pick, like, would you send your GM there?
Why don't you?
Well, dude, you living under a rock?
What do you mean? They're in the war rooms?
The NHL draft is not, there's only like representative from a team. They're not having everybody there like they do. There's not going to be tables on the draft floor where everybody's
well, that's not always been the case.
No, this is the first time they're doing it. And probably it sounds like it might be a one-off. It sounds like even though it was voted, what did Bettman say the vote was? I think he said it was 24-6, which doesn't add up because there's 32 teams. So I don't know. Well, actually, that's not true because Utah, there wasn't the team at that point in Seattle, maybe when they voted on it to change. So I don't know. Either way, it looks like some of them might be like, maybe this isn't the best idea. So they'll go back to it. They thought it would be a good thing, but I think they're rethinking it.
I need the GMs there because I need when they stand up and they go to get like a drink or something and people think they're going to make a trade and the crowd like oohs and ahs. They realize that GM's not going anywhere. He just wants to go get a bottle of water. They're not making a trade to Seattle.
Yeah, I think it is better for the league, to be honest, to have all of your kind of big names there, your GMs, some of the owners are there, not all the owners, but some of the owners are there, but your GMs and it's in LA again. So they have, like, I think Nikki Glazer's announcing St. Louis's pick. That's a thing that's come in here recently. We saw it. Celine Dion did Montreal's pick last year in Vegas and others. So that, I think, is going to be here to stay. So in the future, wherever it is, next year's draft, they'll probably have the teams back. Like Edmonton, they don't even have a pick, so they don't have to send anybody, right? Because they might have had to send somebody if they had a first next year, because they could do what they did last year and trade it to get a late first. But without a first and without a second, I think it's going to be a quiet Friday of the draft front. That doesn't mean the Oilers can't make a trade or something today. They'll be looking and watching, but I think the Arvidsson trade probably has a better chance to happen tomorrow, most likely. And we'll see how it goes from there. But
we're going to talk about it a little bit more in 5 questions. But is there anybody at the draft this year that really gets you excited as their potential in the NHL?
I like to temper my expectations for the players because I think it's grossly unfair how people overhype players and then the player gets ripped on because he didn't live up to the hype that was made up by some media people and fans online. Like, oh, Connor Bedard's going to be Connor McDavid. And now, well, Connor Bedard's a dud. They're already saying that because he's not McDavid. Well, he was never McDavid. He's never going to be McDavid. It was an idiotic comparison, right? Like, they're not even remote. There's nothing similar in how they play the game. Like, nothing. Bedard's a better shooter. Doesn't skate like McDavid. And when you skate like McDavid, there's no one really who does what he does. So if I had to pick a player, Misa's the one I'm intrigued by to see what happens to him. Roger McQueen is the one player because He's a unique player in how he plays the game, and he's injured, and it's a back injury, so you're like, geez. But I wonder when a team takes a flyer on him. Like Pittsburgh has back-to-back picks. Sometimes you can take maybe a little bit riskier of a pick. Now, Boston fans will say, no, you can't, because they had 3 picks in a row and only one turned out was Jake DeBrusk. So maybe they reached too far, right? Like you don't want to miss. Like maybe you take a first round that only, and I say only, ends up being a third liner. Well, that's okay. You don't want to take a first round and just completely miss because you have another first rounder. But I will say Misa is probably the player I'm intrigued to see what he's going to be like in a few years. But again, like Schaefer, and we had Stefan Rosner on, the Islanders, they would be NHL teams, as smart as you want to tell me that some of them are when it comes to hockey, they're clueless when it comes to rushing any players to the NHL. I don't understand why. They does it all the time. Oh, well, he's too good for junior. He's so good that you can crush his confidence and he'll just be okay with it. No, that's not how it works. I'd much rather have a player go back and dominate than just get their teeth kicked in because they need to learn. Like, no, let them get stronger. Let them come in the next year and have a better chance of success.
When I saw Matthew Schaefer, I got PTSD. You know why? Reminded me of Reed Schaefer, Oilers draft pick.
He might make the NHL this year as a regular in Nashville.
I don't want
good American League team.
Yeah, sure did. He could still surprise us all. Could still get traded back to Edmonton.
But he's a late first rounder, and him making the NHL wouldn't be a surprise.
It takes time.
Oh, God, does it ever take time? And it takes, we got this one. Gregor, do you think Misa will be a 100-point player? No, I'm not going to put that pressure on any player. Do you know there hasn't been a 100-point player in the NHL since the 2017 draft? Player drafted who scored 100 points.
Wow.
Right? People 100 points is damn hard. The only guys who do it regularly in the NHL in the last decade, McDavid did it 8 times. Draisaitl did it 6 times. So I think Oilers fans are probably like, well, yeah, 100 points, man. Yeah, that's what high picks do.
We got 2 of them.
Yeah, those 2 do it. Kucherov did it 5 times, and McKinnon did it 3. And then you got a few other guys who did it twice. That's it. So to be a 100-point guy one time is great, but it's one time. And, maybe, hey, I would love it if lots of guys do it because that means there's more offense in the game. But it's hard to do. And I asked the question the other day, from 2018 and on, who will be the first player to get 100 points? My guess, I'm going to go with Tim Stützle. I know Jack Hughes came close, but now Jack Hughes can't stay healthy. So I'm going to go with Tim Stützle, who had 90 points. So still 10 points away. That's still a pretty big increase to go to 100. But he would be my guess as the first guy, best guy to have that opportunity.
Closer to home, how many 100-point seasons do you think Connor can get in the next 10 years?
Well, offense is still up in the NHL. I will say in the next decade, if he stays healthy, probably 7.
Wow.
Well, I could see that. The 2 years he didn't get 100 points. 1 year was he got hurt his first year. And then the other season was when COVID hit in March of 2020. Now, he had missed some games that year, but he only needed 3 points in the last 11 games of the season. Pretty sure he was going to do it. So, yeah.
And Leon?
I'll say Leon, yes, 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So, those guys they're going to still be good for a while. Now, it might not be 120 points, right? But 104 is 104. There's nothing wrong with it. So,
all you Oilers fans who think the team is torched, keep in mind the numbers that are projected for the next decade, right? What other team in the league can expect that many 100-point players in the next decade? Nobody.
No, it's hard to do, man. 100 points is very hard. Gregor, I don't care how many points I get. I want him to get a cup. Well, that's fair. But keep in mind, you can't, the 100-point regular season has no impact. Well, no, it has a small impact because it helps you get to the playoffs. But you don't not win the cup because he scores 100 points in the regular season, right? They're totally 2 separate things. Regular season's 100 points. Playoffs, everything starts over. So now if you would have asked me how many more 30 points playoffs are they going to have? Well, that's a different question because that is both those guys have done it 3 times, which puts them in elite category. You're talking like Gretzky and Messier. That's it. Who have ever had 3 30-point playoff seasons. Now, how many more of those will they have? That's probably going to be hard. It's hard. You got to get all the way to the cup final usually. So How many more trips to Cup final they have? 2 or 3? If they do, that'd be pretty good.
2 or 3 is a reasonable expectation?
Yes. Well, I don't think you think more?
No, I mean, it's still 4 or 5 total trips to the finals. That's a embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, well, that's what you'd hope. I think that's like the Oilers over the next 4 or 5 years, they should be knocking on the door. Now you have to have a lot of right things happen. But like, look at the teams. Like in the NHL, when you get a good core, it stays good for a while. I think it's Tampa proved that. Obviously, Florida's proving that. Prior to that, Chicago proved it. They won 3 out of 6. Right? Pittsburgh won 3 out of 7, 8 years, right? Went to the Cup. They went to the Cup final 4 times in a decade. So it's kind of what the good teams do in the NHL is you get that core. And that's why I was surprised at how many, and I get they were mad, but when the Oilers lost the Cup final, people thought it was, well, they're done. They're not going to get back. And I'm like, nah, Edmonton they started their run in 2022. They got to a conference final. So you kind of look and say they probably got at least a good 6 to 8 year window where they should have a few really good runs at it. Very few good runs at it. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll take a quick break. Craig Button is going to join us. He's been on the draft floor before, of course, as a GM, talk about the strategy. And here we are. We're a few hours away from the NHL draft. The Islanders have the number 1 pick. They've already traded Noah Dobson today. They got the 16th and the 17th pick. And all the rumblings are they're going to try to move up to get James Higgins. Now, does that mean they got to get in the top 5? Do they think he'll slide to 6? That's where, a game of cat and mouse comes in. So we'll talk to Butts about that. The last time we saw some real maneuvering up, do we got to go back to the 1999 Sedin draft? Where you think of, because now the guys have traded from 5 to 7. They swap picks, right? But it wasn't because there was a real reason. Okay, I wanted 2 picks because I want to get both the Sedins, right? Like Burke had it, right? There haven't been teams where, there's a local guy, we really want to move up to get him. And then they didn't have the assets to do it. So it doesn't happen very often. It would be interesting to see if a rookie GM can pull it off. That's what's kind of unique about this is you got a rookie GM. Now he's been an assistant GM for a few years, but first-time GM. Can he wheel and deal to get Higgins? We'll see. We'll discuss it next with Butts on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some jobs are easy, and some jobs are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, you just might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Reports suggest the Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th, 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours or call 1-833-347-7678.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends.
Make sure to swing by Nisku Ford in June to take advantage of 0% financing or choose a total savings of up to $18,500 on select 2024 vehicles.
The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
This summer, get it done with Bashaw Concrete Products. The highest quality ready-mix and gravel with quick, dependable delivery across central Alberta. Call now for your free quote from their friendly, helpful team. Bashaw Concrete Products also offers precast water pads for your cattle, garage sumps, and water cisterns. And if your farm, acreage, or cabin needs a new septic tank, remember, their CSA-approved tanks include a 20-year limited replacement warranty. Can't beat that. Visit BashawConcrete.com and follow them on Facebook.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Four 27. It is draft day on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Friday. NHL draft tonight. How about this for fun? 59.3% of the first round picks are owed by 8 teams right now. They have 19 of the 32 first round selections. The Islanders currently have 3. The Nashville Predators have 3. The Flyers have 3. Sharks, Hawks, Penguins, Blue Jackets, and Flames each have 2. There's 11 teams that don't have a first rounder. Not surprisingly, Florida, Edmonton, Dallas, Vegas, Toronto, Tampa, Colorado, Mini, all playoff teams, New Jersey, Montreal, the Rangers don't have theirs. Either the Rangers gave up theirs to get JT Miller. Montreal just gave up theirs to get Noah Dobson. And I can't remember what Minnesota did to who they gave up to get theirs. But either way, there are some teams that will have a little bit of a say in the draft tonight. As we'll talk to a gentleman who's been overseeing the draft a few times, former NHL general manager, of course, scout for a long time in the NHL, won a cup with Dallas in 1999. Ace analyst and scout for TSN. Craig Button joins us as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Take action on your savings from one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta, actionelectrical.net. Craig Button, how are you, my man?
I am great. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. So, we've seen the Noah Dobson trade, and there's all the speculation. And I was trying to go back, like the last time I can think of a GM kind of having like a real purpose of like a meaning other than just, hey, I want to try to move up because I like said player, is like 1999 when Brian Burke really wanted to get 2 picks and had to wheel and deal to get 2 picks to get the Sedins. And now the Islanders have the number 1 overall pick, and they've got 16 and 17, and everyone's like, well, they're going to try to get Higgins. And they haven't really hid behind that fact, Craig. So if you're a rookie in Matthew Darche, you got to look and say, okay, well, I'm going to talk to Utah and Nashville and all these teams around that, like that 3 to 6 range, to see if you can make the deal work. How many phone calls do you think it's going to take to even make it plausible?
Well, it's a great question. It almost feels very similar to 2015. And the coincidence here is that Don Sweeney with the Boston Bruins, a month on the job, just like Matthew Darche, trying to find a way to get the hometown kid. In that case, Don Sweeney was trying to get those picks to move up to get Noah Hannafin. And he had those 3 consecutive picks, Jakub Zboril, Zach Senyshyn, and Jake DeBrusk. But he could never get up to that spot. He thought by getting multiple picks in that range that he could get to the top. I mean, Hannafin went 5. So now it feels very similar to what Matthew Darche is trying to do. And, teams don't trade out of the top 5, 6, 7 to go to 16 and 17. They just don't. So do I think that 16 and 17 gets you up to an area where you get James Higgins? I don't think it does. I think it'll have to be a much deeper deal for somebody to give up a pick in that regard. The 16th and 17th pick, Jason, are going to help you in 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
So yeah, and there is a drop off. The player you're getting at 16 and 17 is very different than the player you're getting at 6, 7, 8, 9. And so you can look at it and go quantity, but teams have spent so much time evaluating, having their meetings, debating, discussing, coming to consensus on their players. And that's what makes it really hard to move out of that spot. And I think that Matthew Darche, unless the deal becomes a lot richer, I just don't think 16 and 17 get the job done. I've talked to a number of NHL people over the last number of weeks, and I've heard this lots. James Higgins might be there at 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So maybe, it might be, if you can't do it, just sit tight. You might be able to make a move from 16 to 17 to get into that 9, 10 range or whatnot. It wouldn't surprise me if James Higgins goes 5. Won't surprise me if he goes 9 or 10 either.
Well, and that's my question, Craig, is it's hard when you look at Higgins, like he's a good player, but hey, the truth of the matter is size is always a factor. And like how good do you, it's hard to project players. You've done it for a long time. And even then you'd probably admit that it's hard some days because it's still a projection. Like, how do you see Higgins? Is he an 80-point player? Is he a 75-point player? Is he a 100-point player in a utopian world? What do you think is a realistic projection for him offensively at the NHL level?
I think he's a second-line center. That's what I think he is. And Jason, and you're right, everybody's projecting. James is a good player. But here's one of the things that you get to a point. Teams are not looking for 5'10.5" centers.
No,
they're not.
No,
they're simply not. Like if you got dynamic abilities, like I said, he's a good player, and that might be full stop. He might be a 65-point guy. I don't see him as elite. I don't see him as elite in any way, shape, or form. Again, he had 11 goals this year. I think 11 goals in the NCAA. And he's a late birthday, so it's not like he was a 17-year-old playing in that league. I mean, Colin Potter, who's a 5'9.5", great skating center, played at Arizona State, had more goals than James Higgins. Yeah. And I think you get to a point, like we watch James and you watch these other players just get better over time, and they do get better, and they get better and better. And it's not that James doesn't have ability, but we've seen these other players, I think, show that they have a higher ceiling and they have more potential than James Higgins.
Craig Button joined us on TSN, and I agree because I think there's a little bit of overhyping here, and I get the local angle, but I'm like sometimes you can get sucked into that, and you end up making a real bad move. So now thanks for the clarity on that, Craig. What do you make of Noah Dobson? And we had Stefan Rosner on, and he mentioned he doesn't say he's a number one D man because he was rarely on the ice protecting a lead late in a game in New York. And, he's a good offensive guy, but he's not going to play in the number one power play with Lane Hudson in Montreal. That's not happening. So he's going to be a big minute eater, probably, on 5-on-5. He didn't kill a ton of penalties. They wanted to kill more and maybe a second power play unit. How good is Noah Dobson, or do we really not know yet?
Well, I think he's really good. And I think he's a top pair defenseman all day long. And you talk about protecting a lead and everything that goes with it. Listen, the Islanders struggled in a lot of areas this year, scoring goals. They were playing from behind a lot. And I think that at 25 years of age, he's just hitting that sweet spot of his career. He had 70 points 2 years ago. And I think he fell off a little bit, just like the Islanders team fell off a little bit this year. But when you're able to acquire a defenseman that can play 20-plus minutes, and I don't need him to play the first power play, but he'll take the burden off of other players. He can play hard minutes. So that means that's less hard minutes for Caden Gooley. It's less hard minutes for Lane Hudson. It's less hard minutes for Michael Matheson. That's how you build out your blue line. That's how you get stronger. The value for Noah Dobson is what the value is. In 4 years' time, we'll be talking about this being a really good contract when the salary cap's $120 million. But to acquire a player like this for the 16th and 17th picks in a draft, I think it borders on larceny.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Like, they gave up 2 mid-firsts and a guy who's probably projected at best to be a third-line player, right? Like, to me,
a third-line player. Emil Hanneman is a fourth-line player. Okay. He works hard. Bottom line, dime a dozen.
Yeah, fair point. As grand larceny, I like that, Craig. Now, I guess if they somehow make 2 really good picks, then maybe it works out. But but
that's 4 or 5 years from now.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. That's a very valid point. I was running through people were stunned at 100, because a lot of people think like, oh, every young draft pick they're just going to score 100 points. And I'm like, there hasn't been a 100-point player in a draft since 2017, and that was Pettersson and Robertson. They did it once. Right? Like like it takes a long time to score, and very few guys can be 100-point players in the NHL to start with. And it's going to take a while to get there and be comfortable. You look at some other.
Jason, I just got to say something to you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. I have so much respect for you. There's just another example of just the spelling miss. Oh yeah, everybody's going to be a 100-point guy. How many 80-point guys? Like,
yes.
Like you've done the work. Like, forget about 100. I'm not saying forget about 100. You just put it into perspective. 80-point guys. Just go and try to find how many. If you can find a regular player that can come into your team and help you in a different area of your team in the second half of the first round, you're doing really, really good. I know this, and these are the numbers. 45 players approximately will play 350 games or more from this draft. 8 approximately will not have drafted in the first round, will not have an NHL career of any significance. And I'd love to tell you who they are. The NHL teams are not trying to draft players that won't have a career, but that's what the numbers tell you. And then you add in the other part about 100 points. You better take off your delusion sunglasses and put on the reality glasses if you want to understand how the draft works.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, the 2018 class so far has 1 forward over 80 points. Brady Tkachuk did it once. The 2019 class has 1 forward over 80 points. Jack Hughes did it once. The 2020 class has 1 forward over 80 points. Tim Stützle. The 2021 class has nobody yet. Wyatt Johnson is actually the only one to even get 70. He did it once with 71. So yeah, it is really hard. Really.
And think about what you just named. You named a first overall pick in Jack Hughes, the 4th overall pick in Brady Tkachuk, and the 3rd overall pick in Tim Stützle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to 10. Let's go to 12. Let's go to 16. Yeah. Larceny for the Montreal Canadiens to get Noah Dobson.
Yeah. You look at some of the other names that we're hearing out there, it seems like there's lots of, people fishing around and maybe there'll be some moves. Like the salary cap is opening up, Craig. And I think when there's more money available, there's more bad decisions. That's just been proven historically in the NHL. I have Gavrikov as my contract that will not age well. Someone's going to give him 7 years at $8 million. And it's funny because Marc-Edouard Vlasic just got bought out, Craig. And I see them as similar players. They're really good for the first few years. And then it's like defensive defenseman, lose some speed. And I actually checked at NHL Edge, Craig, because they've only been doing it for 4 years. His top end speed in 2022 was 23.6. His top end speed the last few years has been 21.8 and 21.9. He's already slowed down 1.5 miles.
Well, and the game's getting faster, right, Jason?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the nice attributes of NHL Edge is that you can now look at that data and try to, get an understanding and then watch a little bit deeper. How much is the skating falling off? You can look at the numbers, and I think that becomes valuable. You talk about more money means, more, I guess, I don't want to say reckless. It's not the right word, but there just seems like you don't have to be as concerned. The CBA is being extended 1 more year plus 4 more years after that. And, with all the money coming back into the system, they might need a lockout just so they can get into those buyouts of the players whose contracts aren't aging. Those compliance buyouts, that they had in 2013, all those contracts that were signed at big dollars. And then they go, well, okay, we need compliance buyouts. And, the NHL owners love compliance buyouts. They don't like paying the money, but it gives you a way to get out of those contracts. You mentioned Marc-Edouard Vlasic. There's any number of players that end up falling into that category. And you go, well, we got to pay to get the player. No, you don't.
Yeah, that's true. What about what do you make of the Trent Frederic contract for the Oilers? 8 years at 3.85.
Yeah, term. I mean, I guess they're betting on Trent, being able to give them 8 years, and with that dollar figure. I mean, we know the cap's going up and whatnot. It surprised me on the term. Because Trent Frederic had one really good solid offensive season. And I'm not saying, $3.85 million. I'm not saying that's a big significant. It's more the 8 years. And where is Trent going to fit in here? I think he's a third line player. I think he can bump up and play a little bit in your top part of your lineup, play a little bit of power play. But I think he's a third line player. If I'm and now when I start to go at, if I'm Chris Knobloch, I'm going to try to give Trent Frederic all kinds of examples of what Eetu Luostarinen does for the Carolina Hurricanes or for the Florida Panthers, and go, that's what we need you to do.
Okay.
Be that player. Be that player. That's where I would try to encourage Trent to be. I don't need Trent to be fighting and everything, but be like Luostarinen, somebody that can wear down opponents, contribute offensively, play with good offensive players, and give you that depth. That's where I would say that he's best suited, if it's me looking at it. And I think it speaks to where the Edmonton Oilers have to upgrade, into that top six. I mean, you got 97-29, you got Hyman, you got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I think they have to find a way to get a couple more players that can play into that top end of their lineup, and then it'll allow Trent Frederic to settle in to be that Luostarinen type player. Because like Luostarinen, if you ask him to be in the top 2 lines, I think you're stretching him, and I don't think you want to stretch Frederic.
Yeah, well, it's fair. I think ideally that's probably where he is. I could see him like Podkolzin played the whole year on Draisaitl's second line. So I think, if Trent Frederic plays there as a left winger, I don't mind it. Because to me, I've seen Ryan Nugent-Hopkins enough as a top 6 left winger. I think he's better as a centerman. He would be my third line center for a bit. And I, could always switch him, but it's 2 years. He doesn't produce a lot of 5-on-5 for you. He does lots of other things. I like him, but he's not a 5-on-5 productive player. So I would look to try some other guys in the top 6 on the left wing for Edmonton.
Yeah, which is fine, but that forces you now. Where's Matty Savoy at? I mean, he had a good year in Bakersfield. He's got speed, he's got skill, he's got a real hungry desire to score. Like, is he ready to come in there and give the Oilers that speed? And certainly he's going to get an opportunity there. But it's not just the Matty Savoy. There's some other players that you got to look at, other types of players you got to look at to get in there. Listen, if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is your third line center, you're doing really good. Because you're right. He does so many things. And I know I hear this often, Jason. I hear about people talking about, well, Draisaitl makes $14 million. McDavid's going to make, how can you do that? Well, look at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' contract. That's a pretty good contract, isn't it? Isn't Zach Hyman's contract really good? Like, what's the matter with those contracts? But, you know, we tend to get tilted, and I'm talking about the narrative. Oh, look at those. Listen, Leon Draisaitl this year, probably, if he played the full season, could have been the MVP. He was my second place vote after Hellebuck. After watching the playoffs, Jason, I think that McDavid and Draisaitl completely overperform all the time. I just cringe and think about, my Lord, give them a little bit of help. How good could this team be? Because those two drag that team to a high level.
So that leads me to this question. If you look at the salary cap, and we all know it's limited, and I think the Oilers, they're going to add their big addition, Craig, closer to the trade deadline. Like, I look at Florida, and if they don't add Jones and Marchand, I don't think they win the cup, right? Like, those are two massive acquisitions.
Agreed.
And I know it's hard, and I know you can say, well, you can't wait for that. Valid. But when you have to sign Bouchard and Draisaitl's new contract kicks in, I know they got rid of Kane. Now, maybe you can shed like a big salary like a Darnell Nurse potentially. Then there's room to get like that legit top six winger, but they might have to wait till the deadline, because by then you can get him at 1/6 of his salary.
I think that there's two parts to that. Number one, there's going to be lots of players available at the deadline, and everybody's trying to bolster their lineup at that point in time to give yourself the best chance. And you just talked about the Florida Panthers. And because you have Connor McDavid and because you have Leon Draisaitl, you know they're getting you to the playoffs. You know that those guys are so great that they're going to get you to that to a playoff spot. So it's not about a playoff spot anymore. It's not like you have to go, geez, you know, like Ottawa last year, like they had to get their lineup to a spot where they were going to be in the playoffs. The New Jersey Devils, they needed to add to the lineup to get to the playoffs. The Oilers aren't in that spot. So it now becomes critically important for them to give themselves opportunities near the trade deadline, or if an opportunity arises at the right time during the season where you can add that player or players. And I think that's the way they got to look at it.
Who do you think is going to be a surprise pick in the first round tonight, Craig?
Oh God, I don't know. I will say this. I think Roger McQueen is a real wild card. I think if Roger had been healthy the entire season, he'd be in the conversation for first overall. I think he's a first line center all day long. And, you know, from what I know, I don't have to do the same deep dive on the medical that the NHL teams do, but from what I know, everything's fine with Roger McQueen. But, you know, teams are trying to build their confidence. How do you build your confidence in a player that you want to select? You need to watch him. You want to watch him. You want to have more viewings rather than less. And I think that's the thing that gets teams a little bit hesitant. And you want to make sure that the medical side is good. And like I said, everything I know is that it is. But does that mean that your confidence in drafting a player high is there if you haven't seen him as much as you'd like to have seen him? And that's reality. It's easy for me to sit here and go, I think that he could be there. I think NHL teams would say that they know how good he could be. But it's a different animal when you're saying, well, now you got to draft him. Are you ready to draft him at 4 over another player? Yeah. I think a team's going to get a really good player in Roger McQueen. And if he went 4, it wouldn't surprise me. If he went 11, 12, 13, it wouldn't surprise me. So I think that he's the one guy that I think is a real significant wild card. I think whoever gets him is going to get a really good player wherever they get him. I think that he's really interesting. I also look at Cole Reshny. I think Cole Reshny, you know, he was rated in the 20s by Central Scouting. I think he's a terrific player. I did a mock draft with him going to Calgary at 18. Wouldn't surprise me to see him go higher than that.
And quickly, what were your thoughts on the Kane trade to Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what the Oilers were doing. I think Evander Kane was a good player. I mean, obviously he didn't play this year during the regular season, but in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, he was a good player for the Edmonton Oilers. I think that they felt they needed to clear up some cap space. My concern, and maybe concern is a little bit strong, but when I look at a team that needs some weight and some size and some edge and a little bit of skill, I look at it going, okay, so now Kane follows Holloway out the door, Fogle out the door, McLeod out the door. I'm just looking at the forwards. And I don't think anybody would argue that, Fogle, McLeod, Holloway, Kane are the types of players you want if you want to go deep in the playoffs. So, you start to, does that mean they can't replace those guys? No, it doesn't. Does it not mean that maybe this was the best time to move Evander? But the Edmonton Oilers, having just gone through a real grind in the playoffs against a hard team, they're going to have to find a way to get those types of players back in their lineup.
Oh, 100% agreed. Yes. And so Trent Frederic's one. I would go add a few in free agency if we can get him. Although I think the free agent cost this year, Craig, I think Lunacy will return on July 1st.
I agree. I tell you that. Well, when you said 8 times 8 and, for Gavrikov, and I'm thinking to myself when you said it, and I go, no, 8 times 7. I go, no, he's right. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, Sam Bennett got $8 million for 8 years, and I love Sam Bennett. He scored 50 points once, and I know that he had an unbelievable playoffs. He's been very good at it, but for a 50-point player, and I know you can't just pay everybody based on their playoffs, but that's a lot of money for a playoff guy, and because you got to make the playoffs, and you have to have some really good guys then to get you there all the time. So they definitely didn't get a discount. I'm going to say that right now. Sam Bennett did not give Florida a discount. At $8 million, anybody who would have paid him $10 million, I think, was delusional. I don't think there was a $10 million deal out there. And if they did, they would have regretted that very quickly. And I love Sam Bennett, but he's not a $10 million.
I know you do. Well, the other thing I would add too, and I'll just add this real quick, is that the insiders, our insiders here at TSN, Drager, LeBrun, and Chris Johnson, have said that there was a market out there for Sam Bennett to get $10 million a year. But all that does is affirm exactly what you said. We're back to the crazy spending days. The drunken sailors have arrived at port, and they have money burning in their pockets, and they've been at sea much too long.
Craig, enjoy the draft, my man. We'll talk about it next week.
We will. Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That is Craig Button from TSN.
It doesn't mint new players when the cap goes up.
No.
It's not like, oh my goodness, there's all these new guys now. We have more money to spend.
There's just more money to spend on the same players.
Exactly. It's classic inflation.
Quick break. We'll come back at 5 questions on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back. Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sections. Queen beds start at only $199, and save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $499 or more. Some exclusions apply. See you in store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code OIL to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $100 casino bonus on us. Gameable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
The summer drive event is on now at Buick. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 60 months on the 2025 Buick Envision. Make your presence known with available 20-inch alloy wheels with pearl nickel finish. Showcase your style with available quilted perforated front leather-appointed seats. And radiate confidence on any drive with Buick's suite of standard safety features. Get behind the wheel of your Buick Envision today. Ask your Buick dealer for details.
Whoop, there it is. 4 days of basketball at its best. Hoop City 2025, North America's largest FIBA 3x3 showcase. The top 4 Olympic teams on both men's and women's categories, featuring Canada's women's Olympic team, with Edmonton's own Michelle and Catherine Blue. More than just hoops. There's entertainment, long-distance shootout, Grand Slam showcase, plus interactive games and prizes for everyone. Hoop City 3x3 Basketball Festival, July 31st to August 3rd. Ice Palace in West Edmonton Mall. Admission is free, so bring the whole family.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today, because it's time to be the man you remember.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$4:55. Let's roll through. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where, hey, stop in at the Brick coming on this weekend. You got 4 days, huge sales, matches starting at $99. Other bedroom furniture, big screen TVs, and more. Stop in at The Brick or thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. Let's get your predictions for the NHL draft picks 1 through 5.
Well, I'm looking at dailyfaceoff.com here, Connor. If you think that I have the draft knowledge and an off year for the Oilers to overrule Daily Faceoff, that isn't correct, sir. I'm going to go with the book on this one. The book states Schaefer as the number 1 pick, then Frondell, then Misa, Denoyers, out of Moncton.
Denoyer.
Yeah, and then Jake O'Brien. Good Brantford boy.
Mama. Yeah, Schaefer for sure, number 1. The Sharks is interesting, you know what? Knowing them, and it seems like they're like, we don't really like major junior players. So I would see Frondell. The Blackhawks will sprint to take Misa. But Utah, to me, that's where it kind of gets a little interesting here. I think I'm going to go off the board, and Utah is going to take Brady Martin because they desperately need a little bit of jam in their team. And then Nashville will take Caleb Dano.
What happened to Roger McQueen's back? He sounds like a cartoon car, by the way.
Just had back. He's had back surgery.
Okay.
So, but he is
chronic illness, so like not a particular injury.
No, he had like a I don't know what you would term exactly what it was. Like, I don't think it was a slip disc or anything, but he had something in his back, but they don't know. Now, I had one person tell me they think it's an injury that will require him to just, on average, probably just rest, do whatever. He'll miss 8 to 10 games a year.
To fall from first pick overall, like Craig Button said, down, like that's.
Well, no, he didn't fall. He said had he not been hurt, he would have been up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Question number 2. Saw the Noah Dobson deal coming in at $9.5 million AAV. Does this give you more confidence in a number prediction for Bouchard? And what do you think it will be?
I don't think it changes anything. I think Bouchard's coming in around 10. Now, if it's a 4-year deal, it might come in slightly under.
I thought he was going to make 11, but only because I read that online. I'm still not convinced why we need 8 years of Trent Frederic after listening to that. Is the new CBA reducing the maximum length of a contract?
Yes.
To 6?
No, 7 for your player. So basically 1 year less than now. You can sign guys for 8, and then if they're not on UFA day, you can sign guys for 7. Now it'll be 7 and 6.
Seems a lot.
Question number 3. Edmonton Elks 0-3 once again to start the season. If you had to guess right now for their win total, what do you think it'll be?
I think the Elks can go 9-9. and play 500 football this season. I thought they were in the game with Winnipeg until the fourth quarter. That's good. Hang in there, fellas.
Well, 9-9 means they'd have to go 9-6 in their next 15. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. They've had a tough. I will say they go 8-9-1. They'll be the odd tie. I'm gonna go with a tie this year.
Question number 4 for you guys. What do you think Masai Ujiri's legacy will be in Toronto with the Raptors? And two-parter, do you think he'll pop up in the NBA sooner than later?
Well, I don't love the word legacy, but what he should be remembered at is making the Raptors relevant. When he took over, they'd missed the playoffs for a long time. He took over. They had an unbelievable success run. They won a championship. Obviously, he was the architect. He made some big moves. They worked out. It was hard when Kawhi wanted to leave. Like, what are you going to do? So I would say Raptor fans should be thankful that they had him because he won with them, and he'll get another job in the NBA for sure, right? Like they move guys in and out all the time now, and I think the Raptors are probably hoping he does. He's got a year left on his deal, right? So they don't want to pay him to do nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a job midway through next season or this coming season.
I think he did a good job too, right? They won the championship under him, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, for the Raptors to do that, I think is difficult given the excitement level to go in Toronto in the NBA. That guy at the draft, see him throwing out a big F-bomb when he got drafted?
Yeah, but again, like, was he just swearing because he was excited because he got drafted?
I don't think so.
No?
I think he was like, I wish I wasn't going to play in the snow.
Did you like it when people thought Connor McDavid didn't want to go to Edmonton? Don't be a hypocrite.
My heart went cold and my blood turned to ice.
Don't be a hypocrite because you thought everybody was making up the thing. So now you're
I was like, I hope Connor McDavid doesn't hate us. And then he looked happier-ish in his next interview.
I think people pretend that suddenly they're like understanding of emotions of people that they've never met. I didn't mean anything other than
but when a guy stands up, shakes his head, buttons up his blazer, and drops an F-bomb, I'm not like, I think this guy's having a good time.
I think he's just like, man, I just got drafted. Holy bleep. And in all that moment comes to you. It's just like, this is real. Like, I got drafted.
That's what you thought when you watched that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll back you up then. I'll change my mind.
But I don't look for negatives. I just don't. I think it's a waste of time because 90% of it's wrong.
When I saw that photo of Connor, when he saw that he was going to come join us up here, I was a little bit concerned. I was like, what if Eric Lindros is
seeing Connor McDavid now?
Well, now he knows his resting face.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what's it like? What's Connor McDavid? All he knew was that Edmonton won the lottery. He's trying to be humble. He's like, well, I don't know if they're going to take me. Like maybe, until Nugent Hopkins called him before the draft and said, welcome to the team. That was pretty funny. We learned that story this year. But Connor McDavid is a pretty serious guy. And like, I don't think he was going to have a huge, like, hey, this team won. Great. Cause in that moment, he's like, I can't show any emotion either way. That's what he did.
Did you see that video of him that we put up on Oilers Nation on Insta? And they did his first presser and he's like minutes old. And they're like, who do you think your line mates are going to be? He starts laughing. He's like, I just got drafted. Yeah. Welcome to Edmonton.
Mm-hmm. Whoever asked that question, what an idiot.
Was it you?
No.
Oh.
No, I know who it was. It's a joke because I know who it was. Who was at the draft?
Who was it?
I was there. I'm not going to say it.
Oh, I see.
They know who they are. They're probably listening.
Wow.
Terrible question.
Final question for you guys today. J.J. Abrams turns 59 years old today. Of course, he's been involved in a lot of films and TV shows even. What would be your favorite?
Season 1 of Lost, Connor, when JJ was in charge, before he handed off the reins to Damon Lindelof to go make movies because Hollywood was writing big checks. That to me is some of the best television ever made. Season 1 of Lost. That's the best J.J. Abrams. The fact that he's 60 almost shocks me because I thought he was like the up and coming guy in Hollywood, but now I realize that was 20 years ago and he has come up since.
I never watched Lost. Everybody's talked about it, but people got so mad about how it ended. Like, I think, like, I remember like friends being like, "Oh my god!" Like they were literally mad, and I was like, "Geez, I'm kind of happy I didn't invest all this time into it because I could see how that would annoy you if it was that bad of an ending." So I can't comment on that. What would be my best? Wasn't he part of Shrek? I'll go with Shrek. Right?
J.J. Abrams?
Didn't they develop Shrek?
No.
Sure.
Unless you're looking at it online. I didn't think he was involved.
I thought he was. Cons, can you look it up? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't like, honestly. I thought he was involved in like helping the animation part.
Oh, maybe. Do you ever see the movie Cloverfield?
He wasn't the director, I don't think, but Cons, look it up.
Wikipedia says he was contracted by Jeffrey Katzenberg to develop animation for the film Shrek.
Oh, okay. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cloverfield's a really good movie of his.
Because I honestly don't know a lot of other J.J. Abrams. I just
Okay,
remember
fair.
reading the random Shrek
Yeah.
note. And so I watched Shrek the other day.
He did Star Wars ones. He did the new Star
yeah,
Trek.
he did. He was part of the remake. Well,
The
not
reboots.
remakes, but I guess the originals now, like 1, 2, and 3. Even though and now Star Wars is 4. I'll never figure that out. I'm sorry, just won't. Even though I get the timeline of it, I still understand it. So there you go. I guess Shrek in a weird way. He was just part of the animation, so that's probably a soft answer. That's what I'll go with. Because off the top of my head, I couldn't think of anything else.
That's a good deep pull to know he
Mhm.
was involved in Shrek.
Yeah. Cons, what about you? And by the way, no, I've never seen Cloverfield. What is it?
Oh, it's just a really good J.J. Abrams movie. It's like a Godzilla type movie.
Oh, all right.
And it was all really, why is it called Cloverfield? What could that possibly mean? Everything's an Easter egg with J.J. Abrams. He said when he wrote it, he was looking out his office window and
At a
that he was
Cloverfield.
on Cloverfield. He just
Oh.
named it after the sign.
Okay.
But it's a good movie.
Okay.
Connor, what's your favorite?
In this research, I realized that he directed an episode of The Office Cocktails when they were having drinks at the boss's house. What's the guy's David Wallace?
Yeah.
And Dwight's doing home inspection. So that was pretty good. But also, I'll say this. I used to downplay Armageddon, and I would tell people I hated that movie. And it was on TV a couple of months ago, and I couldn't turn it off. And he was a writer.
JJ?
He wrote it.
Really?
Yeah. So I guess I got to eat some crow. Like the ending I always thought was kind of corny, but in the music and all that. But good movie. Great cast. I did a 180.
When Bruce Willis sends Ben Affleck back up into the ship
Yeah.
to take care of Liv Tyler, if you're not crying, you lack tear ducts.
Yeah, I didn't cry, but the whole movie.
Connor doesn't cry.
I don't cry. Yeah.
No
Not
tear
yet.
ducts?
Wait till he sees a father-son movie here in a bit. Then he'll start crying. It happens automatically. It just does. You're just like, what's going on? Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, catch things up. Mark Spector joins us, Low Tide, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by Play. Alberta.ca Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing continues now to the end of the month. You can save up to $12,000 on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. See more at gmccanada.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Round 1 of the NHL draft getting going shortly from Los Angeles. Islanders on the clock to make the first overall pick. The Edmonton Oilers and Trent Frederic agreeing to an 8-year contract with a $3.85 million AAV. Sam Bennett staying with the Panthers, 8 years, $8 million per year. And the Montreal Canadiens acquiring defenseman Noah Dobson from the Islanders. They'll also sign him to an 8-year contract worth $76 million. From the association, Raptors president and vice chairman Masai Ujiri mutually agreeing to part ways with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment ahead of his final year of his contract in the CFL. Week 4 tonight, you got 0-2 Hamilton hosting 3-0 Montreal. Kickoff in about 30 minutes. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays in Boston taking on the Red Sox. Originally reported that Vlad Jr. would not play. Looks like he is in the lineup after being hit by a pitch yesterday. And the Riverhawks kicking off a weekend series in Nanaimo, taking on the Night Owls. First pitch tonight set for 7:35. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell from the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer at On the Rocks.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, Barkells, live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PBR.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave 118th.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com. Experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Bring the whole crew on Sunday, June 29th at 4 p.m. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. TheStingers.ca.
It was a heck of a ride. Thanks to the Edmonton Oilers for a fun playoff run. Now it's time to turn to football, soccer, baseball, and other summer sports from the team at Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports leader.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday as we roll through. Welcome back. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, your one-stop shop, lottery, instance, casino, sports, live dealer, and more at PlayAlberta.ca. You got, of course, CFL games this weekend. What about the Jays? Big series against the Red Sox. Of course, NHL draft weekend. Then we got free agency coming up. We've already had a few trades, or I think we're going to have more. We got some signings. Tavares is staying in Toronto at a really good deal at $4.3 million. Sam Bennett, $8 million in Florida. Geez, I thought Florida got all these discount deals. No, that's not a discount deal. That's probably fair market value in today's NHL. Because guess what? I compared it to Nazem Kadri, 2022. Nazem Kadri. Big-time point producer in the playoffs, similar to Bennett. Scored 87 points in the regular season, more productive in the regular season. You know what he signed for? $7 million. If you look at his percentage of cap to 22 to what the percentage of cap is now, it would be $8.1 million. What did Bennett get? $8 million. There's no deal there. Don't give me one garbage. Tell me that, oh, this is another savings of taxes. No, Bennett makes more money. The Panthers didn't save any money. Two things can happen at the same time. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. They are hiring you. If you want a wonderful, great company, then an opportunity for a fantastic career, go to gsconstruction.ca. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, happy Friday. How you doing?
Great. I just watching Gary Bettman at the start of the draft here, walking people through how they're doing this new draft. It looks like kind of interesting, like the NHL stepping into the 2000s here. It's kind of weird.
Now, Bettman probably hated it. He didn't get booed. He's like, what's going on? There's no one in the arena to boo me.
They booed him. They booed him in LA. Oh,
yeah. Okay. What, is it at the arena? I'm not even, is it at the arena? Put it on. Oh,
no, it's at a theater, which is right across from the arena. It's at like a pretty cool. It kind of has a sort of an Emmys or a Grammys vibe to it.
All right. Okay. And there's going to be a few big names. Now, are the big names going to be there in theater making the announcements, or are they going to be back with their teams? How's that work? Do you know?
It sounds like both. Some might be at the Peacock Theater, they're calling it, and they have basically a live camera into all 32 teams, or I guess maybe not 32. Every team that's going to draft room, they're set up in their dressing rooms back home. They've set up draft tables, their dressing room, so it's a really nice backdrop. So they just showed a board with every single team's war room in there. And some teams will trot their person out in there, I guess. I'm not sure, Matt. It's the first time for all of us here.
All right. The Edmonton Oilers, I think an Arvidsson trade happens tomorrow, more likely than today, Spec, because, day 2 of the draft is usually where we see some of those kind of minor deals occur. Do you think Trent Frederic's deal came down? We've talked about this, so it's probably not even worth revisiting. But now that it's official, what's your thoughts on Frederic at 3.85 for 8 years?
Well, a few things. I mean, I'm like everyone else. I kind of wonder why it has to be 8 years. I also know that they make it 8 years to keep the AAV down. I also know that if you don't like the last 3, you move the contract. So don't get hung up out there on 8 years. It's not that big a deal. I think the most interesting thing for me, Jay, is who are you paying? Are you paying a winger, or are you maybe paying a guy that you project to be your third line center? Do you give this guy a year on a line with Henrique and tell him to go to school and really learn the nuances? And if you get comfortable at center, back and forth maybe a little bit with Henrique. And is this guy, I mean, he's 6'3", he skates pretty well. They say he's good on draws. I didn't see him take many, so I'm not sure. He's big, he's heavy. Maybe he can, you got to be able to check the other team's best line when you're a 3C, especially on the road. So I wonder, Jay, if the Oilers look at him as their 3C of the future. What do you think about that?
I think it's possible. I think they need some other top 6 wingers first. So I could see it.
He's not a top 6 winger.
Yeah, but neither is Podkolzin, and he's better as an option as Podkolzin is my point for now.
It's kind of like reliever by committee. It means you don't have one. He's better. So instead of having a 4th line winger playing with Draisaitl, you got a 3rd line winger playing with Draisaitl. Frederic's not a top 6 player. I'm here to tell you, he's not a top 6 player. You could put him in your top 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure he's a is he going to be Draisaitl's left or right winger wherever you play him? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe he will be. If Podkolzin can do it, maybe this guy can, but I'm not sure that's your solution there. Maybe it has to be. Maybe you don't get 6 top 6 players, Jay, when you're the Oilers, right?
No, it's hard to do when you've got 2 guys that are going to, make as much as Draisaitl and McDavid. So I get it. And you're going to have to find some guys who can get hot for a year, right? Like Florida won the cup because they had a lot of guys having like out of this world career playoff run. That's what has to happen sometimes to win, right? So it's like the Oilers have gotten to the final having some guys. Now this past year, they didn't have anybody having career years because the year before the 3 guys had unreal out of their minds. Although Corey Perry did have a career year, 10 goals, tied his career high in playoffs, and he was 40 years old for goodness sakes. So you do need that a little bit. I don't think Edmonton just has the cap space to add a top 6 full-time guy unless they make no moves for goaltending.
Well, right. And I mean, I think we have to say, like, if you told me they just played Leon Draisaitl primarily with Victor Arvidsson and Vasily Podkolzin all season long, I'd say, man, that's no way to treat your top, your second line center. And then I look and I'd see that he's the only 50-goal, 100-point man in the league last year. So, like something worked, right? Something worked there. Right? You got the proof's in the pudding. But I think you're right, Jay. I think, like, who do you have? The Oilers have, McDavid, Draisaitl, legit top 6 centers. Hyman, legit, and Nugent Hopkins, legit top 6 wingers. So you got 4 legit top 6 guys in your top 6. I think the next 2 spots are going to be a Frederic. They're going to be a Podkolzin. They're going to be somebody. But don't you want to get Draisaitl somebody? Like, wouldn't you love to? Doesn't Draisaitl at some point, how come he's always the experiment guy? How come he always gets the depth wingers, right? McDavid always gets the good guys. What about Draisaitl?
Yeah, well, you know who I think Draisaitl is going to get to start this year? And hey, I'm not, but he's a skilled player. He'll get Matt Savoy to start for a few games.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if Matt Savoy's ready to hang.
Yeah, he might be. Like he was a 9th overall pick. Like the guy's got some skill, right? Like he was drafted to be a top 6 player. That's what he was drafted to.
No, I'm with you. He's definitely it's to me for what we've seen, like his first full year in the AHL, he was unbelievable. Tons of points. I forget what his number was, but he had a great year. And the first year in the AHL, most scoring type players, like top 6 skill guys, their numbers tend to be a little bit humbling. Matt Savoy had a great year. So he trends at this point to be a top 6 winger. There's no question about that. I think the only question we have is how ready is he yet, right? That's the only real question here. How ready is he yet?
Well, he'll get an opportunity. I think he's going to get every opportunity here, and we'll see what he does. He doesn't, and the great news is he doesn't have to carry the line. Like all he's got to do, like if you think about it, say, okay, Matt Savoy, you're going to be. Can you score 15 goals? Because if you score 15, that's what our second line right winger scored last year, right? Like that's kind of the good news is he doesn't have to be the savior offensively. Offense isn't the Oilers' big issue overall, although it was in their top 6 this year a little bit, funny enough. But in the regular season, scoring's fine. So he'll be able to kind of find his way and weave it out. The other thing though, Spec, I think the one change we're going to see this year that's going to help anybody in the top 6 who isn't McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent, Hopkins, is the second unit power play is going to get a little more minutes this coming year in the power play. The first unit, we saw it a little bit at times. I think it's going to be even more this season.
See, I said that a year ago. I beat that drum heading into last year, and I don't think I was right in the end. I don't think I was right. I thought they would I thought with Arvidsson and Skinner coming on, it was the perfect moment to have 2 units and use them more. And I haven't looked at the analytics, but did they use the second unit any more last year than in previous years, Jay?
No, but honestly, I've had conversations. I even think the first unit players realize they need to have if you want guys to, and I think Spec, the realization was really in the last 15 games of the year when those 2 were hurt and they saw the other guys get some gumption going. I think they realize, hey, we want to win. And so they're not suddenly going to go a minute. I think there'll be times, if it's 4-2 in a game, you might, and those guys were just on the ice, they're not going to get to stay out there like they usually do. They'll start the second unit.
Well, I think one thing we always see, listen, McDavid draws the most penalties on the team. And his unit always starts the power play. So there's probably a few of those, Jay, where you could say, gee, you just had a 45-second shift and drew the penalty. Go sit down. The other guys get the first minute. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how most teams actually do it. Just not this team. So, hey, listen, I'm all for it. I think what I hate to say this, and I don't necessarily believe that Matt Tkachuk was dead on right when he said it, but his whole thing about how we're a team and they're not. Yeah, I think
that's typical.
Edmonton was a pretty good team. Let me finish. Edmonton was a pretty good team. But I think we've talked around here a long time about how it has to be a team here. It can't just be the 2 big guys. And even though they've improved on that front a ton, there's still room to get to break out, like to improve. So I think the theme here, and you're saying it with a second power play, and we're saying it with spreading out some offense a little bit, maybe the theme needs to continue to be build the team, right? More of a team. They need a little more help from all the other guys and a little less reliance on the top 2 centermen.
Yeah, well, this year they had that. With McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice in the playoffs, the Oilers outscored teams 25-14. Like you can't ask for much more than that. Their top guys actually got outscored. That was the issue in the playoffs. If we want to break it down, that was the issue. Wasn't their depth guys getting outscored? Their depth guys did more scoring than you'd want, you'd expect. So they were fine. Tkachuk saying that it's complete kind of garbage that they would always rely on, right?
He's just blowing smoke.
Yeah. So we'll see. Spec, have an awesome evening. By Monday, will the Oilers have made a trade other than Arvidsson?
Oh, by Monday. Geez, that's a good question. I'll go out on a limb. Yeah, By Monday, they'll have another goalie.
All right. Ooh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. By Monday, they'll have another goalie.
All right. There we go. Spec, have a good one. We'll see if you're right.
All right, buddy.
Here, let's see. A Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Quick break. LT will join it. And I'm telling you, if you're just making your way home tonight, when you get home, get your kids, or if you don't have kids, go watch the first pick of the NHL draft and see Schaefer, whose mother passed away from cancer. Very classy move by the Islanders. They put the cancer ribbon on his jersey. So when he pulled his jersey on, it had the cancer ribbon. He kissed it. Obviously, he broke down. It's pretty, like, imagine that. You're 18 years of age. I don't care if it's mom or dad. Doesn't really matter to me. You lose your parent, and you're there at that moment. His dad's in the crowd. He's crying. You can see his son on stage. Little bit, it's unique, and I think he just got overwhelmed in the moment. It was awesome. So check that out. Watch it with your kids. And what's great about sports is emotional moments. I love it. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
When you look at a pipe, we just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring. Right now, GS Construction is looking for experienced foremen to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose.
You don't have to wait. Boxing Day is back at the Brick. For 4 days, shop incredible deals, like mattresses starting at just $99. Save big on genuine leather sofas and sectionals. Queen beds start at only $199. And save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. Plus, get free local delivery on outdoor furniture purchases of $499 or more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Boxing Day starts Friday at the Brick, saving you more.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th, 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit cask.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours, or call 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. That's promo code Gregor before entering your order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
5:28. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Wanye Gretz, Connor Halley with you. 2 picks are in the books. The Islanders, of course, no surprise, as they took young Schaefer, and the Sharks went with Misa. Not a bad decision there either. So Schaefer and Misa. A lot of people had the best defenseman and the best forward on the board, and that's who went 1-2. And away we roll on. Now it's on the clock, the Chicago Blackhawks. Be interesting to see where they go with their number 3 pick. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Of course, Canada's number 1 Volvo dealership in new car sales, 13-time winner, excellence in sales and service. You get fantastic vehicles, even better service. Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. As we welcome in the host of The Lowdown, noon to 2 on Sports 1440, Alan Mitchell joins us. Al, I know that it's rare that Al gets upset, but when Al got off his show today, came by, and goes, you know what? People were really giving it to him today about the Trent Frederic deal. Did you have to crack a drink just to calm down since you left the studio?
Well, I didn't have to, but I did. I think, I get it. I mean, Frederic wasn't 100%. He had a high ankle sprain. And I also think that people are upset about the amount of the contract and the AAV. And, that's fair. But 2 things. We're going to see, I think, a lot of contracts like that over the next few days. There aren't a lot of wingers or centers in this year's free agent pile. The Oilers got themselves a guy who might play center, might play the wing, score, let's say 15 goals. Maybe the last couple of years of that contract aren't going to be good. The no movement deal, I wish they wouldn't give them out. But I can tell you, somebody watched Frederic play for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years in Boston. He didn't get a chance to show what he can really do. This is a quality player. And I think that fans in the fall will be happy with him as a player. And I don't know what, who his center will be or what line he'll be on. But he's a rugged guy, and he can do some things. I think that Edmonton Oilers fans will like him. He's an Oilers-style player, and when he's healthy, he'll impress.
Yeah. Do you think it's only a no movement clause for the first few years, and then it becomes a no trade, with limited, up to like 20 teams, which is, man, that's a lot of teams you can get traded to. So, and like, I don't think that if he gets injured or whatever, because, was what Spec said, the final 3 years of the deal, it's not one that's buyout proof or anything like that. Worst case scenario, Al, you buy it out and you deal with it. But I don't know, like the last year of his deal starts when he's 34, right? It's not like the last 3 years are 34, 5, 6. The last 3 years are 32, 33, 34. He should be an okay player still.
Yeah. And, this sounds ridiculous, but he does improve the youth of the team.
It's only 27.
So, and he's got, he has some miles on him, but he's a young player who's going to play in this league for a long time. And he's rugged. Like the thing about Frederic, we just saw it. You build with decent, you build up the middle, but you have decent size. Both the teenagers just drafted are 6'1" or higher. And this, Frederic is a big fellow, and the Oilers need that. When he was playing during the playoffs, when he wasn't 100%, his 5-on-5 goal share was very good. And I honestly, I just think that Frederic is a player that people didn't see good, and they're making some conclusions, and they will change their mind in the fall. The player that you think you saw is not Trent Frederic. He's a good player.
Yeah, I would agree with that assertion. Al, do you see the Oilers making a goaltending move this weekend, or is it free agency instead of a trade?
Well, I think that ideally, you'd make a trade. I mean, the Islanders may be rebuilding. Who knows what Buffalo's doing? You'd probably shop around. But I mean, I think they've got to move Arvidsson to get, say, Allen. So my thought is that trade probably makes the most sense. Then you maybe try to get Allen, and if not, you might have to wait. I know people aren't going to like this, but you might have to run it back and then maybe make a move at the deadline. I'm not saying that will happen, but I think it's better than overpaying for a player who's not a sure thing, at least equal to and possibly upgrade. I like the idea of getting a veteran goaltender, but it's got to be the right fit, and it can't be. You know, I liked Swayman until he signed his contract, but man, he makes way too much. The expensive goaltenders are going to be almost impossible for the Oilers to acquire this summer. They just don't have the coin.
LT, we were joking around about earlier drafts here at the studio, and I made my famous declaration when they drafted Draisaitl. Germany, no one good comes from Germany, and history proves I was wrong. Has there ever been an Oiler drafted that surprised you positively, where you're like, oh, I didn't think that he had that in him? Turns out he's one of the greatest modern day players, like Leon for me.
I will say this, that I was a little disappointed when in 2011 they went with Oscar Kleppbaum. I think it was 19 or something like that.
19.
I felt, I thought there was other players on the board who were going to be, good. I didn't know how long it would take Kleppbaum to go. Defensemen, sometimes they don't develop. But I was wrong. I mean, Kleppbaum did get hurt and he lost his career early, and that is a shame. But when he played here, oh my God, he was such a good player. So I would say in recent years, Oscar Kleppbaum's the example I'll give. I thought they should have gone with as I recall at the time, they needed a center because they drafted Hall. I thought they should have gone back with another center and really built up that position. But as it turned out, Kleppbaum was a terrific choice until he lost his career due to injury.
And then going the other way, who was the one that got away? The Oilers are right there, like the Steve Kelly pick, where everybody was chanting that, or the Doan, right?
Yeah.
Was there, who's the one that got away for you for the Oilers at the drafts?
I mean, I think that looking back, I don't think they necessarily did their due diligence on Jesse Puljujarvi, and I think that I think that if they'd taken Matthew Tkachuk, the Oilers' history from 2016 on would have been different. But I mean, that's hindsight. That's not fair. But I thought Tkachuk was the guy, and there was some rumors that were going to trade up or trade down and get Sergachev. But I thought staying and getting Tkachuk would have been the play. It wasn't. They didn't do it. I'm not saying that I was screaming and yelling at the time because Puljujarvi was a great find. They didn't handle it well. They should have sent him back to Finland or to junior or something. But they brought him right to the NHL and did not develop him well. But I would say Tkachuk, and of course, I just have to take a moment to say that the big one that got away, they did draft Mark Pouliot, but it didn't work out. Although I'm still hoping he's in the Swiss League, boys.
Oh, Mark Pouliot, and like one of the deepest drafts in NHL history, and they you got players all around him, and that's who they pick. It was unbelievable. Oh, that is that's a good one. Oh, Marc-Antoine Pouliot from here. I'm just gonna, because for any of our listeners who don't remember the 20, so they took Pouliot 22nd. Ryan Kessler went 23rd. Mike Richards went 24th. Corey Perry went 28th. Louis Eriksson went, there was lots of guys around. And actually, that's not because they traded down. They originally because they had 17 where they traded down from 17. Yeah, Zach Parise went 17th. Getzlaf went 19th. Brent Burns went 20th. So they could add all those guys.
Listen, I tell you, that draft was the deepest. 79 was deeper because it was two drafts in one. So they moved back the clock and younger players get developed. So that draft was stupid good, and we'll maybe never see anything like it again. But in terms of pure draft, 2003. It might have been even better than 2015, although we'll find out as time goes by. But it was I mean, if you are looking at that board and can't get a guy who plays 1,000 games or 250 goals, you have screwed so badly, and that's what they did.
Yeah, oh God. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's because of Crosby. No, he got drafted before Crosby was even on the team. He didn't play with Crosby. So it wasn't the Crosby effect that they just made a bad selection. It's just that simple.
As an avid reader of lowtide.ca, I just want to point out that you convinced me Martin Marinson is the future, LT, and I'm still convinced that he will surprise us.
LT.
I'm ready for it.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. And when Jordan Eberle comes back, Aaron Hall comes back, they're going to win the Stanley. It'll be beautiful.
And Reed Schaefer will be back too, LT, and he'll win the cup and hold it high above his head.
Oh, yeah, LT. Well, you know what? If Cody Franson would have been an Oilers draft pick, that would have been next level of articles of Al that you wrote.
I tell you, right now, I've got an article waiting for when the Oilers draft Sean Horkoff's boy later this weekend, and that's going to be a big lot of fun, let me tell you.
I don't think he'll last to the third round, unfortunately. But
yeah, you're right.
He was conceived during the 06 Cup run, LT. I ran the numbers on that. That's peak Sean Horkoff.
He was good that year.
Only the Oilers would have somebody in media who ran it back and said, yep, definitely conceived during that series.
Even to the month, LT.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's beautiful.
Funny. Too funny. Al, you look at the what do you think the Dobson trade and the signing? You know, a lot of people say, hey, this is good. Do you think it impacts Evan Bouchard in any way?
I don't, and here's why. This is just my opinion, but I think they're far enough along so they have the parameters of the deal. And one thing I will say is that you know, whatever, unless, you know, I keep hearing, they're going to, you know, there's some kind of poison pill Shea Weber offer sheet for Evan Bouchard. I don't think that's coming. I think it's going to be around 10 times 8. They're too far down the road for this to have an impact. People will bitch and moan, but I think signing Evan Bouchard, I know it's a lot. I get it. I understand it. But I think he's the third best player on a great team, so I think you got to sign him.
Yeah. I'm not sold it'll be 8 years. I won't be surprised if it's a shorter deal, but we'll see. It could be that part I could be wrong on for sure. So we will find out. Al, quickly, give me your thoughts on the Elks and the defense getting torched through 3 games, giving up 35 points a game.
Well, here's what I don't understand, and you know more about football than I do. But I watched the one game, and nobody was close. They were giving too much room to the receivers in the Alouettes game. Yeah. But last night's game, they had nice tight coverage, but they weren't making plays. So I'm watching the game, and I'm like, man, you are right on that guy, but you have to turn and make a play, or you have to on the and I know Dembski's a great player, and I know it was a great thrown ball. But I just feel like the Elks are there, but they're not there, and that's frustrating because like they're great athletes. They just have to perform, and like I wouldn't blow it up or anything, but it is frustrating to watch this where they're in position to make a play and they can't appear to make it happen, and that is that's frustrating because this team is, you know, every year they start out poorly and maybe they're a little bit, you know, vulnerable to a slow start in terms of the fan base. It would be nice to see them get a win soon because I think the fans I think they would like to cheer for the Elks. I think they believe in this team more than they did. I know Ford is exciting, man. He's running around. He's doing things. They had a bit of a running game. There were things to get excited about, but the defense has just got to execute, got to make plays.
Yeah, that's very true. Al, great stuff, buddy. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, beautiful. Have a good one.
There you go. That is Al Mitchell. Quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You don't want to miss the party of the summer on the Rocks.
Sunday, June 29th.
Catch Edmonton's #1 party band, the Barkels, live at OTR.
Drink specials all night.
$5.25 highballs.
$5 PBR.
Oh, and we can't forget the $5 Jaeger and Jameson.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of party.
Live, loud, and legendary.
Sunday, June 29th.
At On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave 118th.
Reports suggest the Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Experience Edmonton Stingers Pro Basketball. Celebrate Canada Day with a game on Tuesday, July 1st at 4 p.m. It's the most affordable, family-friendly, fun sports experience in the city. Tickets start at just $20. thestingers.ca. The Discovery Day sales event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. It's your final month to lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $4,000. Lease or finance a 2025 XC40 from 0.49% and save up to $2,000. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better services. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
So you're dying from the heat, sweat dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell legacy without AC.
Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
McDonald's summer drink days are back, which means it's officially summer. Enjoy your refreshing small Coca-Cola or small iced coffee for just $1 all summer. Summer's booming with summer drink days. Excludes flavored iced coffee at participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe. How would you like to join me and others? It's the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise, and it's the summer of 2026. It begins July 17th. 7 nights on the Mexican Riviera. We go to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and visit casks.tours/Edmonton. Number to call is 1-833-347-7678.
Save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours or call 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Get your power play amped up with UL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. UL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. For Elks fans, if you wanted in depth, check out the podcast, the most recent one at Elks Nation, breaking down the loss last night. Declan Kruger, Eddie Steele, discuss where the Elks go from here. Well, you know where they go from here. They'll have a few days off. They don't play again until next Sunday at home against Ottawa. And we'll be looking for their first victory of the season. They will definitely, they could use a win. There is no doubt in my mind. I don't think there's a team that could use a win more than that. Looking at the draft right now, the Utah Mammoth take Caleb Desnoyers, 4th overall after Frondell went 3rd. So that's not a big surprise to me. We heard it from Craig Button, coming in there. He's like, hey, Higgins is a good player here, but let's not go crazy here to think that you would have to, trade up that high to get him. You might be able to get him at 9 or 10 if the Islanders still are going to try to move up. We shall see. There'll be a lot of pressure. Like, everybody loves the local kid till the local kid doesn't score 2 goals in his first game. And then they're like, well, what the hell is he doing? So that's a challenge.
Get that local kid out of here, we say.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. Let's get to Wanye's World, brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. 4 divisions and service, tag, electrical, and of course, solar. Learn more, actionelectrical.net.
I was trying to spread the good word of Elks Nation at Oilers Nation the other day, Gregor, and I was trying to explain to the youth how popular the Elks used to be in this city. Like, I can remember going to games in elementary school, and it was 75% full. The lower bowl would be 85% full, the upper deck 65% full, and the kids couldn't believe it. I wonder if you could kind of shed some light for maybe people who don't recall the glory days of the Elks, then Eskimos, how popular this team was.
Oh, well, really, like the 80s was their peak, but even in the 90s, like you would get 40,000. Well, I remember in September games, like now, granted, there were 60,000 sometimes, but those free ticket one giveaway, but still, the place was bananas. And it's been slowly eroded. I think the organization for a while got a little, and not the current one, but previous regimes where they're just like, well, we still, you know what, we're good with 30,000. So whatever, they will get 40 once a year and Saskatchewan comes and that's okay. And an erosion just is not 1 year. And there is many things. It wasn't just one thing that occurred. And that's why I think that the fans will come back. Well, winning will help and they'll eventually come back. And because when people go there, they have fun. It's cost effective, right? That's going to be the key, but you need to win some damn games. At the end of the day, you need to win some games. And so that's going to be the biggest one for them. Like last year, you look near the end of the season when the Elks are winning games, suddenly there's 20, 25,000 people there. It doesn't take a lot to turn it around because I think there's a lot of people that like the game that would go. They're kind of waiting. And especially on a night that it's raining, I'm not going to go. Now, if Sunday is a beautiful day outside, you'll get a decent walk-up crowd.
I think that the Elks have a lot of upside. I think that, notwithstanding an 0-3 start, I still feel like there's a lot more good vibes around the team this year. People should give them a shot. Even if you don't necessarily want to go to a game, watch them on TSN. Don't have time to watch on TSN? Follow Elks Nation on social. Watch Declan and Eddie Steele crank out a couple of podcasts.
Yeah. No, there's and that stuff like that will help, honestly. Like there's a way where the people that wanted to follow them, didn't have like a dedicated place. Right. And so I think having Elks Nation will definitely help them in that regard. No question. And like, I will say under Chris Morris, I think he's got a real understanding of what the job at hand is here. And it's going to take some work. And you know what? I'm very interested to see after year one on the job for him, what changes he makes. Because he said, you know what, you don't want to just come in and go crazy because some things might be a really good idea that you hadn't thought about that somebody else in your organization has. But so you get everybody that opportunity the first year to kind of see what's going to happen and where they're going to go. And obviously at the end of the day, winning will help for sure. They do have a young coaching staff that it's, it's a hard balance because there's a need for patience. And I think the organization might have it, but the fans are like, you got to win. And I understand that. It's totally valid. So that's going to be their challenge this year is can they remain patient enough? And they'll need to be patient with this team.
Or sign Shadur Sanders if he doesn't play Cleveland.
No, I don't think that's...
That's when the CFL was at its height. Remember when they got Rahib Ismail, the Rocket?
That was the hype train, but the CFL was bigger before then, honestly. But that helped for a short period of time, yes. But then you had like Ricky Williams that didn't work, and there was a stretch there where they brought in other guys and
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, Manziel, no. But even Gatineau came in here. Who was the other big D lineman? Cons, who was the other big D lineman from the NFL that came here in like early 2000s? Didn't have any success and left from Washington. God, I can't remember.
But not Shadur.
No,
he's a legend.
Oh,
bring him up here.
He hasn't played yet, buddy. You can't be a legend until you do something.
They retired his number in college. Why would they do it if he wasn't a legend?
Well, college level, sure. But that doesn't make you a legend. Legends are pro players.
But he is on the wall of legendary players in Colorado.
Okay, but that makes you a college legend.
I don't even know if he was a college legend, Gregor. I think his dad was a college legend.
No, he's a pretty good player.
Legend?
Yeah, he was pretty successful, yeah. But
numbers retired already.
Yeah. But what does that mean? Like
nothing.
I think, there's a little bit of a quick too much jumping to wanting to retire jerseys at lots of places right now, my opinion.
Let's get some headline players up here, Connor. Let's get some guys you wouldn't expect to see in a Elks jersey.
Get LT out of retirement, Cons?
Oh, 48?
No, Daniel Thomason.
Oh, that's how old he is.
Yeah, he's 48 now.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
JJ Abrams is 103. I learned that today.
It was LaDainian's birthday last week. Oh, sorry, 46. What do I know? Oh, yeah, he's got 2 good years then.
The Elks need, like, I remember as a little kid when Gizmo would do a flip, I would do a flip.
Oh, yeah. No,
we
that's
got to
true.
get somebody like energetic like that that's got a signature dance move or something. That's what the Elks need.
Oh, I'll be curious. I'm curious what the feedback is going to be for the draft this year. People are getting upset about it. Shocking. People are, the picks are taking too long. I'm like, what? But I will say that, like, the time between picks has become a little bit ridiculous. This year, it even has to be longer because now they're interviewing the player and the GM right away, which they never used to do in between picks. So we'll see. Anyway, have a good weekend. I think Arvidsson's getting dealt. I think there'll be some other slight moves, and then free agency, those when it's going to happen here. So we'll have lots of chat about on Monday. There will be some more UFAs by Sunday night because somebody's not getting qualified. So we'll discuss that and more. On behalf of Wanye Gretz, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. We'll talk to you on Monday. Here's Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Truck month continues on now with employee pricing. You can save up to $12,000 on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate. Only at gmccanada.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Round 1 of the NHL draft is underway. No surprise, New York Islanders taking defenseman Matthew Schaefer first overall, followed by Michael Misa to the Sharks. Rounding at the top 3 was Anton Prondell, center to the Chicago Blackhawks. Edmonton Oilers today confirming that they have signed forward Trent Frederic to an 8-year contract worth $3.85 million per season. That was for Sam Bennett. Same with the Panthers, 8 years, $8 million AAV. The Montreal Canadiens acquiring defenseman Noah Dobson from the Islanders in exchange for Emil Heineman, the number 16 and number 17 pick in the draft. He then signed a contract extension, 8 years, $76 million. And also the Maple Leafs keeping John Tavares in Toronto, 4-year contract worth $18 million. Week 4 in the CFL continues tonight. You got Hamilton taking on Montreal right now. Alouettes up 1-0 with 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Major League Baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays are in action tonight. Currently leading 2-0 over the Red Sox heading into the 3rd inning. And the Edmonton Riverhawks in action over the weekend. They'll kick off their series tonight in Nanaimo, taking on the Night Owls. First pitch, 7:35. The Stingers will be in action on Sunday at 4 o'clock down at the Expo Center, taking on the Scarborough Shooting Stars. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. We've got Fox Sports Radio coming up next. I'm